Rock Ninja Village. Inside the central building. Tsuchikage looked at the letter in his hand and shook his head, stood up and looked in the direction of Yunnan Village, as if the mountains and mountains were not obstacles. I didn't expect Yun Ren and the others to hide such a pair of jackals. The obedient appearance of the two brothers Ginkaku and Kinkaku that I saw in the coalition army camp came to mind, and I sneered. No people, no faces, but don't know your heart, Onoki. You should pay more attention to this kind of people in the future. They are poisonous snakes hiding in the dark, and they can give you a fatal blow at any time. I understand. Onoki, who had read the letter, was also shocked by the contents of the letter, and nodded solemnly. He really didn't expect Ginkaku Kinkaku to be so insane. I am also confident in my heart that there will be no ninjas like them in the future Iwanan village, and the will of the earth will shine on the hearts of all Iwanan. The letter was written by Ginkaku himself, and he has already proclaimed himself the third generation of Raikage. In the next few days, they will set off a rebellion, kill the second generation of Raikage and the second generation of Hokage, tear up the peace agreement, and rely on the power of the 6 ninja tools to quickly take over the military power of Yunnan. Then the Konoha ninjas will definitely be leaderless because of Naruto's death, but one thing is certain is that they will definitely gather ninjas to attack Yun Ninja to avenge Naruto. Next is the meaning of Ginkaku Kinkaku's letter to him, otherwise exposing his plan for no reason would only increase the variables. Ginkaku Kinkaku's letter stated that he is willing to attract the attention of Konoha ninjas for the Rock Ninjas, so that the Rock Ninja troops can wantonly enter the country of fire, burn, kill and loot, and even hit the Konoha ninjas' lair. It has to be said that this is a very feasible plan, and Onoki's heart was moved by what he said, but he always felt that something was wrong. The golden horns and silver horns depicted in the letter were too generous, not at all like a person who dared to eat shadows, so he couldn't help saying. There must be something wrong here. That's right, the main purpose of these two brothers is to use Iwanan's power to restrain Konoha. I think Ghost Lantern Wanyue must have received such a letter. After listening, Onoki hesitated for a moment and asked. Then shall we cooperate with them? Why not? It can weaken the power of Yunnan, and it can also severely injure Konoha. The hatred is not on us yet. Ginkaku killed Hokage, which is destined to usher in Konoha's revenge. Now I am afraid that they will not be able to kill this old fox in Tobarama. Wu turned around and said with a chuckle. Although the actual situation is not what he said, there is one thing he said is right, that is. Wu Meng turned around, the bright sunlight outside the window shone on his back, and his face was completely shrouded in darkness. There is nothing behind Konoha. This is a good opportunity. It's just a pity that the second Raikage, an old friend, fought half his life for the village, and died at the hands of such a person in the end. It's a great irony. He waved his hand. Next year I will burn some incense for him. An order was issued from Tsuchikage's office, and the land of Tsuchikage, which was originally peaceful, became active again, and teams of Iwanan secretly went to the border. The same is true for Mist Shinobi, who is far away in the ocean. Sailboats broke through the waves again, carrying enemies with ulterior motives to the bustling other side of the ocean. Konoha Ninja Village. The fully armed Sarutobi Hiruzen half kneeled in front of Senju Tobarama with a teleportation technique. Teacher, you can start now, the Hokage guards are assembled. This time, because Danzo went to the country of Uzumaki, Hiruzen Sarutobi served as the captain. The team members are the hope of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Kagami. The leader of civilian ninjas, Mizutoin. The pride of a female ninja, Tanian Kaharu. Pig Deer Butterfly leader, Autumn Road takes the wind. It is Konoha's dazzling new stars these years, the representatives of the Bronze Generation. The generation that was born and grown up in Konoha has its roots in full bloom. It can be said that they represent the future and foundation of Konoha. Chian Sho Tobarama looked at these energetic young people, nodded in satisfaction, and felt a little old in his heart. They are all the first generation of flowers watered by myself and my eldest brother. The only fly in the ointment is that Danzo, who he is most optimistic about, did not participate in it. It would be great if this brat was by his side. Shaking his head, he cleared his mind. Okay. Tobuma stood up and waved to the villagers gathered at the entrance of the village. Everyone go back. I will definitely give it to you and bring peace to Konoha. All the villagers raised their hands excitedly, cheering for this miraculous man. This is their favorite shadow. Peace. Long live Hokage-sama. Looking at them, Tobarama smiled happily, put on the Hokage hat, turned around and led a group of Hokage guards and walked out of the village. The scorching eyes of the villagers behind him made Tobarama raise his head, look at the distant skyline under the blue sky and white clouds, and grinned. This war that has lasted for several years is finally coming to an end. When I come back this time, maybe I should try to let go of the burden on my shoulders. Konoha may need a new young Hokage. As for my old bone, you can try retirement. Aha! The Uzumaki clan is finally arranged. Wiping the sweat off his forehead, Danzo looked at the blueprint of the village after the Uzumaki clan joined Konoha village in the future with satisfaction. In the past 2 days, Danzo has been busy without touching the ground. As the general manager of Konoha in Uzumaki, it can be said that most of the things require his participation and signature. Arrangement of sealing the thought work of the Whirlpool clan. Life after integration, issuance of demolition funds. However, today is finally almost busy, and the next thing is their constant running in. After the task here is completed, it's time to go back. If you don't leave, the old man Uzumaki Ashina will find that all the drinks he treasured appear in someone's pocket inexplicably. Holding up the scroll in his hand, Danzo smiled triumphantly. This trip was not in vain. With a shake of hand, the jug appeared in the other hand. Mei Zizi opened the bottle cap and took a big gulp into her mouth. Goodbye, Vortex Village, I leave as quietly as I came here. I'm really sorry. Danzo, who was about to express his feelings, suddenly discovered that there was a cloud of dust approaching from far to near in Uzumaki village. Squinting his eyes, he took a closer look, and it turned out that Uzumaki Ashina ran over with a ferocious face and shouted. Wait a minute. Danzo, you brat, give me back the old man's wine. What? I can't hear you. Don't send it away. Danzo pretended not to hear his words, shouted, then bit his finger, and pressed it to the ground. Spiritualism. A white smoke appeared in place. Toothless Boy rolled his eyes and looked at Danzo, lying on the ground, as if he had just woken up. He swept his tail dissatisfied, and wanted to continue to sleep. Quickly woke up Toothless, lowered his head and said, Brother, retreat quickly, the wind is blowing. After returning to the village, you and I will share this wine. Toothless snorted and snorted in dissatisfaction. Danzo's face froze. Seeing the Whirlpool Ashina getting closer behind him, he gritted his teeth and agreed. Okay. Good, 4 or 6 points, just 4 or 6 points, don't hurry up. Only then nodded in satisfaction, and got down on the ground. With a vertical jump, Danzo sat on it firmly, took a sip of wine, and gave Toothless another sip. After turning his head to make sure that Danzo was sitting firmly, Toothless shook his wings, stood up, and slowly rose into the air. With a flutter of wings, the figure disappeared in place, leaving only afterimages. Only Uzumaki Ashina was left watching their backs stomping constantly. Damn it. Why does this person look like a bandit, and he is immoral? Konoha and his party in armor walked slowly. The surrounding lush trees gradually decreased, turning into deserts one by one. All kinds of strange boulders are displayed in this wonderful country, huge and tough. Just like the Cloud Ninja who was born in the country in front of him. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a look, came to the side of Senju Tobarama, lowered his head and said. Teacher, we have arrived at the border between the two countries. Tobarama nodded to the group of Konoha ninjas stationed at the border behind him, indicating that they could leave, and then led them towards the Land of Thunder. There were already ninjas arranged by the second generation of Raikage there, and they were waiting at the border to meet Tobama and prevent possible enemies. Looking at Yun Nin who came to greet him, Tobarama nodded slightly and said. Everyone, you've worked hard. The leader, Captain Yunin, hurriedly lowered his head, and replied respectfully. Master Hokage, I am serious, this is all for the friendship between the two countries. Tobarama patted him on the shoulder, looked in the direction of Yunren village in the distance, and sighed deeply. Yeah, after fighting for so long, it's time to stop this meaningless war. While the two were talking, Yun Nin greeted several ninjas in the team with flickering eyes, glanced at each other, and one of them left the team. Another member of the team noticed the anomaly and asked curiously. Hey, this is Narita-kun? Oh, he has a stomachache. The few people just laughed and covered up the matter. The ninja didn't ask any more questions, and turned his head to look at Tobarama seriously, with a smile unconsciously appearing on his face, and his clear pupils were already looking forward to the next piece. And as the man named Narita left, the Cloud Ninja stationed on the border ushered in a bloody storm from his own people. A large number of stations are occupied by Yun Nin who is loyal to Ginkaku Kinkaku, controlling the passages between the Land of Thunder and the Land of Fire. Teams of Cloud Ninjas in full armor stood guarding the road they walked in Toijian, and every time they walked a certain distance, a team of Cloud Ninjas appeared. It's like a dexterous woman is gradually tightening the mouth of the cloth bag carefully. Ginkaku Kinkaku knows how powerful the person he wants to assassinate is. Even if he already has the bonus of the 6 ninja tools in his hand, he dare not be careless in the slightest. Facing 2 top powerhouses in the world, no matter how careful you are, you can't be too careful. Since receiving the news of the ninjas he sent to escort the Konoha delegation, Raikage led the high-level cloud ninjas to the entrance of the village to wait. The second-generation Raikage was very happy to see that Toma really led the Konoha delegation to Toma in Unen village. Now there is finally a fig leaf to make up for the fact that he was defeated. When someone brings up this matter in the future, I can still say that although Yunin was defeated, it was Hokage who came to Yunin village to negotiate a peace agreement in person, and I allowed the peace talks to give him face. Since he gave himself face, he should also give him the respect he deserves. This is called sophistication. Like those 2 brothers who only know how to fight and kill blindly, they are destined to have no way out. The second Raikage glanced disdainfully at the golden horn and silver horn behind him who lowered his head. 2 simple-minded fellows with strong limbs. In the last high-level meeting, they dared to speak out against their peace proposal, and even led many hawks in the village to oppose it. Originally, they wanted Ginkaku Kinkaku to be used as the whetstone of the 3rd generation of Ai before they were allowed to cultivate their wings. The 3rd generation of Ai who had not experienced honing could not be a good Raikage. It's just that now it seems that they have their own ideas. These 2 knives are really getting harder and harder to use, and they start to pierce my hands, so I have to find a time to sharpen them again. If the grinding is not good, a disobedient knife can only be destroyed. While thinking, Tobirama had brought the Konoha delegation to the entrance of the village, and Raikage quickly smiled and opened his hands. Welcome distinguished guests from Konoha. Ha ha ha, Lei Ying, long time no see. Just as Tobirama wanted to shake hands with Raikage, he dragged his body over and gave him a big hug, like a friend he hasn't seen for many years. Seeing that Raikage was so enthusiastic, the rest of the Konoha delegation let go of their original concerns. It's too enthusiastic, Lei Ying. After finally breaking free from the bear hug, he complained, but his eyes were looking at the senior cloud ninja leaders behind Raikage, nodding in satisfaction. Judging by this posture, the peace agreement should be true. Raikage was also extremely satisfied when he saw the size of the Konoha delegation. The people who came were basically the team of the next generation of Hokage. It should be to let the next generation of successors get acquainted. I just heard from the spies that Danzo went to the country of the vortex, and I don't know what to do. It's good if that kid doesn't come to Yunin village, otherwise I'm afraid I won't be able to keep my smile. At the end of the first wave of trials, both parties saw each other's sincerity and were very happy. The welcome team at the entrance of the village also started singing and dancing, and the whole village seemed to be filled with laughter. Ginkaku, who kept his head down, glanced at Yun Ninja beside him, and the ninja nodded and disappeared in place. Yun Nin, who was in charge of guarding the entrance of the village on the tower, looked at the Konoha delegation slowly walking into the village, his eyes flashed with hatred. Following the team's golden horn and silver horn, feeling all kinds of negative emotions coming from around him, he smiled at the corner of his mouth. Since the protagonists are on stage, the big show is about to begin. This time, the Cloud Ninjas who arranged to break the peace agreement by themselves were all killed by Konoha ninjas in the war not long ago. He has an unshakable hatred for Konoha. After all, most ninjas have the inheritance system, and such people are the easiest to use. Raikage, Yunin village is well managed by you. Tobirama looked at the people welcoming him on both sides of the street, with a smile on his face, but his eyes had an inexplicable color. Sighing in my heart, this time I still can't hurt Yun Nin's bones, just scrape off some flesh, and give them a little more time, they will definitely make a comeback. Ha ha ha, I can't compare to Konoha, it's all a joke. Hearing Tobirama's compliment, the second Raikage's face was a little proud and a little lonely. When labor and management first took over Yunin village, the troops had not yet formed combat effectiveness and lacked equipment, and neither of them could get a handful of detonating symbols. I asked the daimyo for it, and the daimyo said that if I had a detonating talisman, what would I want you for? If you want to be Raikage, you have to be able to do it. Hey, let's do it ourselves. Today, everything is available. Still can't do that doggy Konoha. It's a pity that Yunin village, which has been developed for half a lifetime, was solved by Konoha. While the two were talking, many of the people on both sides of the street started to move around. Each of them seemed to be chaotic, but they had their own rules. In the seemingly peaceful Yunin village, the undercurrent is surging crazily. The warm golden sun shone in Muya village, and it was approaching dusk. A black lightning quickly shuttled across the blue sky, as if the creator accidentally stroked it with an ink pen. The ninja guarding the entrance of the village watched the black horse rushing from a distance. With smiles on their faces, they bowed their heads respectfully and said, "Master Danzo." The moment it touched the ground, the black horse stopped, and a gust of wind blew up, landing steadily on the concrete floor. Turning over, Danzo fell down in a vigorous posture. He greeted everyone with a smile. "You guys have worked hard." Just about to step into the village directly, out of the corner of his eye, he saw the colored ribbons on the ground, so he asked curiously, "Is there any important guest from Konoha today? Why are there colored ribbons on the ground?" After a Konoha ninja heard it, the smile on his face became even brighter. "Oh, Hokage-sama took Sarutobi-sama and the others to the Cloud Ninja to negotiate a peace agreement. It was released when the villagers sent them off, and they haven't had time to clean it up yet." The words fell, and his eyes were full of expectations for future peace. But Danzo's heart fell again and again, and it was too late to say anything to them. "Turn over directly and ride Toothless Boy again, and look for the flying thunder god Kanai on the other side." Only then did I realize that I gave Uzumaki Ashina a name to facilitate the contact between the two top leaders of Ninja Village. It is definitely too late to ask for it now. The remorseful Danzo was distraught. The sensible Toothless Boy felt the anxiety in Danzo's heart, and licked his face with his big tongue to comfort him, and he didn't procrastinate anymore. With a flash of his figure, he rushed to the blue sky at the fastest speed. The strong wind whizzed past his ears. Danzo frowned, looked at the setting sun that was about to sink in the distance, and murmured, "Hopefully. Night falls. The bright moonlight shines on Yunren village. What a peaceful and beautiful scene." In the brightly lit Konoha guest house, Sarutobi Hiruzen and his group gathered together. Tokama glanced at the two kneeling on the left side, and waved his right hand. Uchiha Kagami and Akamichi Tekazi nodded. Their figures disappeared, and they appeared around the courtyard, looking around vigilantly to prevent anyone from approaching. After they left, Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a solemn expression, "Teacher Tobirama, I always feel that something is wrong with this Yunin village. Yes, it seems that there is always some hostility around me." Genju Shaoshin followed up. "Yes, it seems that you have all discovered that now the entire Yunin village seems to have become two parts. One part is full of illusions of peace, and the other part is hidden under the lake, full of conspiracies and tricks." Tobirama kept wiping with the Thor sword, his sharp eyes full of murderous intent, slowly stood up, and looked at the bright moon outside the window. "Something must happen tonight. But Reikage doesn't seem to know about this." Mizutoyan recalled the scene where Reikage greeted them during the day, and doubts arose in his heart. Sarutobi Hiruzen touched his chin. Is it possible that he was pretending? "If Lei Ying had such acting skills, your teacher and I would have died countless times. Don't sleep tonight, wearing armor and containing a ration pill, to maintain the best condition. Get ready. Maybe, your teacher, I will lead you to fight a bloody road." Picking up the Thor sword that had been cleaned, the smooth blade reflected the face of Toriken, and the red lines on it seemed to reflect the murderous aura of the master. "Yes." The remaining three people in the room lowered their heads and responded, and the armor on their bodies made noises with the swing of their bodies. In the Thunder Shadow Hall, a piece of feasting and feasting. The second generation of Reikage led a group of high-ranking cloud ninjas to kill chickens and sheep, eat meat and drink alcohol. His face was already flushed, and he raised his glass drunkenly. "Everyone, after tonight, our Yunin village will sign a peace agreement with Konoha, and we won't have to go to the battlefield in the future. Ha ha ha, long live Reikage-sama." All the high-ranking Yunin in the audience cheered in unison. The second Reikage looked at the crystal-clear wine in the glass, reflecting the gray face at the temples, and couldn't help laughing at himself. He was no longer young, and the last chance to come back with Konoha was ruined by himself. All we can do now is to preserve Yunin's strength as much as possible and hand it over to the next generation of Reikage. He also wanted to continue the fight, but the village's logistics and soldiers could no longer hold on. If the fight continued, even the children in the village would have to take up arms. This is not the Cloud Ninja village he wants to see, and he is sorry for the oath he made in front of Reikage. Just taking advantage of this opportunity, let yourself step down with dignity. At the same time, I announce that after the signing of this peace agreement, the third generation of I will be the third generation of Reikage of my Cloud Ninja. As soon as these words came out, there was an uproar in the audience. The third generation of I was pushed onto the stage in a daze, and stood with the second generation of Reikage, becoming the center point of view of all the senior executives present at the scene. Most of the hawks have unruly eyes. After all, the third generation of IK is a dove. Now that he is on stage, he will definitely use the people around him. The gold and silver corners in the corner crushed the wine glass even more. Eyes full of anger looked at the second generation of Raikage standing on the stage. I wanted you to live a few more days, but now it seems that I can't keep you. After beckoning, the confidant ninja standing aside walked over with his head bowed. Ginkaku said something to him and handed him some things. His confidant widened his eyes, nodded, and then left the banquet and walked to the back kitchen. The second Raikage looked around and found the golden horn and silver horn standing in the corner, and said with a smile, "Golden horn and silver horn, come here." Hearing his words, Ginkaku and Kinkaku looked at each other, put on a fake smile, and approached slowly. After they were by his side, second Raikage smiled and held the hands of the two of them. "If I didn't rely on you two brothers, I wouldn't be able to reach this position, so I always miss you in my heart. Now being Raikage is too difficult, it's better to be an ordinary ninja and be happy, not daring to lie down all night." "Why is Lord Raikage so troubled?" Ginkaku Kinkaku asked. Waving his hand, second Raikage laughed again. "You are my right-hand man, and the third generation of I is younger than you, so I will rely on your help in the future." Ginkaku Kinkaku's eyes flickered, and he grinned and said, "Everywhere, it is Lord Liying who leads well." After saying a few more homely words, the waiter brought 4 glasses of wine and came to them. And the confidant ninja who went to the back kitchen just now also returned to the banquet and met Ginkaku's eyes. The second Raikage took the waiter's wine glass, handed it to Ginkaku Kinkaku, and said cheerfully, "Well, you are not young anymore, you should consider the issue of starting a family. It will be fine for you two brothers to stay in the village in the future. As an elder's staff member, it will be convenient for you to advise the village, and you don't have to go out to fight and kill." As soon as these words came out, Kinkaku couldn't help but want to say out loud, "This is to kill the donkey, to take down the military power of the two brothers without giving up, one soldier and one soldier." Ginkaku's body muscles tensed, he gritted his big teeth hard, and did not make a sound. No wonder the old guy talked so much, he wanted to keep them in captivity in the village. Staff? It's nothing more than a staff officer. The decision is in Lei Ying's hands. If he listens to your plan, then the staff officer is still useful. If he doesn't follow your plan, what is the difference between that and a waste? Wonderful, really wonderful, he deserves to be the person who has been able to lead Yunren village for so many years. If I hadn't made arrangements first, I would have been succeeded by you, an old fellow. Stretching out his hand to stop Kinkaku who wanted to get angry, Ginkaku took the wine glass and said with a smile on his face, "Okay. Thank you Lord Lei Ying for your promotion, the two of my brothers will definitely ruin the village." "Ha ha ha. Those who know the current affairs are heroes, you are a good man." The second generation of Lei Ying was overjoyed when he heard the words, and drank the wine after clinking glasses with Ginkaku. Several Lei Ying's confidants beside him heard Ginkaku's words, and then retreated silently. If they didn't agree just now, then tonight we'll only see blood. Watching the second generation of Lei Ying drink, Ginkaku smiled even more happily, and the drinks from the back kitchen were still being served glass by glass. Seeing that the matter had been settled, the upper management of Yunnan at the banquet drank the wine brought by the waiter with peace of mind. Another beautiful sight. The wine glistened eerily in the candlelight. Perhaps it was the effect of alcohol. Lei Ying felt a little weak all over his body, and shook his head indifferently, thinking that it was the decline in drinking capacity caused by getting older. A smile appeared on his face, he drank it down in one gulp, and when he could see the bottom of the cup, his body became a little heavier. Poochie. Suddenly, a sharp knife pierced through the chest, and a few drops of blood fell into the wine glass, adding a little red to the clear wine. Lei Ying hardly felt the pain, looked at the tip of the knife in disbelief, and turned his head stiffly. Ginkaku was still as obedient as a dog, if he ignored the knife in his hand. Sensing Lei Ying's gaze, Ginkaku smiled, turned his wrist, and the blade stirred in his body like a meat grinder. The pain went straight to the brain along the dull nerves. Chakra, who wanted to mobilize his body, killed the jackal who dared to devour the lord in front of him, but he couldn't feel the slightest strength. The arm that was usually strong enough to destroy Xiao Shan was extremely weak at this moment. Reluctantly raised his hand and flung it on Ginkaku's face, now he just stroked it lightly. Ginkaku held his hand, leaned his head on his shoulder, put his mouth next to his ear, and said softly, "Lei Ying, you're drunk." Lei Ying, who controlled the life and death of a village and set off a bloody war, fell powerlessly on Ginkaku. Physically weak, but mentally sober. He finally felt a trace of panic, Death was slowly approaching, and the blood slowly slid down the body to the ground. 1 drop, 2 drops from the eyes of the people attending the banquet. They looked like Lei Ying was drunk and leaning on Ginkaku. The high-level person who has a good relationship with Lei Ying joked. Ha ha ha, look, Lord Li Ying is not drinking as much as before. Stumbling to Lei Ying's side, he patted his shoulder, and the shining white light of the blade caught his eyes. The dull brain turned around, wanting to shout out loudly. A touch of sweetness welled up in his throat. He opened his mouth and spat out. Dark red blood spurted from his lips. He looked at the drink in his hand in disbelief. It was still so clear. The wine glass slipped from the palm of the hand and made a sound. Finally, people who were paralyzed by alcohol realized that something was wrong. The extravagant air was filled with the smell of blood. Look. Look. The younger Yun Nin stared wide-eyed, and a few drops of blood slowly slid down Ginkaku's face, and there were already 2 bodies under his feet, and he didn't know whether he was alive or dead. One of them was Lei Ying, whom they admired so much. Ginkaku, are you trying to betray the village? With a roar, all the Yunin who were immersed in the banquet were awakened. The pigeon sent Yunin to rush towards Ginkaku, and when he came halfway, his body felt weak. Before the Cloud Ninja guard in charge of security was disturbed by the movement of the banquet, his throat was cut by a ninja from the same village, and the veins on his forehead burst open, turning him into a cold corpse. Ginkaku drew out his ninja sword, and the tailed beast chakra danced wantonly on his body. His pupils changed like a wild beast, and slowly raised his left foot, stepping on Raikage. Looking at these dove ninjas who glared at him with hatred even when they were lying on the ground, his thin lips parted. Kill. The Eagle faction Yun Ren drew out his weapon without hesitation, and slashed at his former comrade in arms. For a moment, blood flowed on the floor of the banquet hall, dyeing the sheep wool carpet bright red. Seeing all of this, the high-ranking members of the neutral faction Yun Ren felt the weakness of their bodies and the fear in their hearts. At this moment, madness surged into their hearts. Stop it. Stop it for me. The second generation of Raikage's tiger's eyes were moist, and tears flowed silently. The all-powerful self can't do anything now. Seeing his appearance, Ginkaku sneered disdainfully, dragged his collar with his hands, and slowly walked up to the high platform. Feeling the platform where only Raikage could speak, took a deep breath, only feeling comfortable all over, and pointed to the portrait of the first Raikage. Today, we are standing here. Standing on the land of thunder. Standing on Yunin village, the land watered with blood and dignity by our ancestors. Behind me is the portrait of the original Raikage. He is a recognized fighter in the whole ninja world. He is the glory of the whole world. Stepping on Raikage's chest again, he raised the volume. And now, this man under my feet, our beloved Raikage wants to cowardly pray for peace. Abandoning the land we took with countless heroic warriors easily. Let the leader of the enemy proudly come to the place where our ancestors lived and sign that ridiculous peace agreement. Do you agree? No promise. Yun Ren, the hawk in the audience, only felt their bodies boiling, and their brains were filled with hatred, and they raised their hands and roared. Looking at the cloud ninjas mobilized by him, Ginkaku smiled cryptically. I'm very proud. Among you people, there are very few people without bones like this. In front of me is a legion of unyielding blood. This blood once flowed in the blood vessels of our ancestors, and they never surrendered. Now, they are rushing in our bodies. Tell me, do you want it to cool down? I don't want to. Shining white teeth, Ginkaku looked in the direction of Konoha guest house in the distance, pulled out a sharp knife, and pointed at it. So, now we have to show our enemies the power from the Cloud Ninja. No. You will drag the village into the abyss. The second Raikage saw that the Cloud Ninjas in front of him were all provoked by Ginkaku, and said through gritted teeth. He could no longer imagine what to do with the village. It's not something you should worry about now, dear Raikage, farewell. Hearing his words, Ginkaku put no expression on his face, and raised his foot to his head, pushing hard. This ninja who left a legend in the ninja world fell powerlessly. The cold body was still bleeding. No. 3 generations of I watched everything that happened, hating himself for being unable to change. This own succession night, now turned into an absurd drama. Ginkaku turned his head and looked at the 3rd generation of I who was speaking. I won't kill you. I want to show you, Raikage who was handpicked by the 2nd generation, that Yunin village will truly rule the ninja world under my command. Shut up. Pulled his hair and threw it to the confidant ninja beside him. In the dark night, countless cloud ninjas held ninja knives and walked towards the guest house where Tobarama was located. Dense black shadows covered the periphery of the guest house, forming one layer after another encirclement, like a seasoned hunter, setting the perfect trap for the enemy he valued. The golden horn is holding a golden rope, a banana fan and an amber bottle, and the silver horn is holding a red gourd and a 7-star sword. The tail beast chakra is covered on the body, forming a tail beast coat. Facing this man, no matter how conceited the two of them are, they still have to use all their energy to face him. With a light wave of his right hand, more than 20 yunin around him nodded in unison, and the silk thread was quietly held on the eaves of the guest house, forming seals in their hands. Si Chen Mao Yin, Fire Escape Dragon Fire Technique. More than 20 flames rushed towards the house, and the blazing fire made the ninjas feel hot. Seeing this monstrous fire escape ninjutsu, Ginkaku smiled triumphantly. Killing 2 shadows in a row in one night, I can be regarded as number 1 in ancient and modern times. Bang. Water escape water formation wall. At the moment when the flames were about to collapse the house, a wall of water rotated to protect the house. When the terrifying flame encountered the wall of water, it seemed like a mud cow had entered the sea, unable to turn over any waves. Thick water mist rose, and figures slowly walked out of it. Compared to Uchiha Madara, your Hoken is simply tickling. Tobirama looked coldly at Yun Nin, who released Huo Dun just now, and smiled disdainfully. As expected of Hokage, let's try the following move. The scarlet beast's eyes stared at the door. Ginkaku Kinkaku lay down, opened its mouth wide, and jet black balls condensed in it. What 2 lunatics, they actually used tailed beast jade in their own village. Seeing the pitch black ball in their mouths, they didn't dare to be careless. It's true that the two of them are so crazy. The flying thunder god kunai was thrown instantly, and at the same time, the kunai in his hand was injected with chakra, forming a water blade. Flying thunder god technique. Water escape water blade slash. Ginkaku was aiming at the Thousand Hands door, but found that the figure suddenly disappeared. People are gone. At the moment when Ginkaku and Kinkaku formed the tailed beast jade, a figure from Tobirama appeared from their chins and struck upwards fiercely, forcing them to spit out the tailed beast jade. 2 pitch black balls rushed into the sky and exploded in midair. Large clouds were scattered by the shockwave, and the bright moonlight shone on the entire village. The figure appeared on the spot in a blink of an eye, wiped the sweat from his forehead with senju, and said with lingering fear. What a terrifying power. The terrible power is still being hit by your head. For some reason, upon hearing such words, the 9 tails chakra on them became violent. There was a hole in the tailed beast's coat at Ginkaku's chin, which looked a bit miserable. He took a mouthful of saliva and spat it out, but found a hard object. Taking a closer look, the good opportunity turned out to be my own teeth. With a wave of his hand, he wanted to call Yun Nin to surround Senju Tobirama together. A few figures appeared in the guest house, and immediately forced Yun Nin to retreat. Sarutobi Hiruzen held a Vajra wish fulfillment stick, swept away a Jonin, looked up at the densely packed cloud ninjas, and said loudly. The Hokage guard is here. Uchiha Kagami, Kaharu and others behind him also held weapons without fear. Ha ha ha. Okay, let them see my Konoha ninja. Tobirama laughed boldly, staring at the enemy with tiger eyes. The chakra on Ginkaku Kinkaku erupted, making the 6 ninja tools glow slightly. Huh. The power of the 6 paths ninja tool will let you experience it. Slowly wrapping the golden rope around his arm, Ginkaku let out a grin and rushed up. Tobirama, who was not familiar with the strange ninja tools in their hands, did not dare to act rashly, but seeing Ginkaku's attempt to get close, he had an idea and tried to avoid it with the flying thunder god technique. Does the majestic Konoha Hokage only run away? Ginkaku, who was quite upset by the flying thunder god art in Tobirama, yelled angrily, and then saw Sarutobi Hiruzen and others facing his subordinates with rolling eyes. A plan came to his mind, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Okay, since you Hokage can run, then your subordinates can't run, right? Beast eyes searched around, and soon found Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was using Ruyi King Kong. It starts with you. Ginkaku's burly body jumped up, driving the turbulent wind to slash towards Hiru Sarutobi. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who didn't know the truth, had just repelled the digital cloud ninja's attack. Facing his sneak attack, he had no chance to dodge, so he chose to resist it in desperation. Seal in hand. Fire escaped the art of great flame. Flames spat out from his mouth, and the extreme heat was enough to roast ordinary people. Ginkaku's eyes widened, and he gritted his teeth and urged the tailed beast chakra to wrap himself more tightly, resisting the high temperature and groping toward him. Hiruza Sarutobi, who was urging ninjutsu, was touched by the golden rope without noticing for a moment, and he felt something in his mouth about to spit out. He couldn't help but opened his mouth, and the blue speech spirit appeared in front of him. Just as he was about to do something, the 7 stars sword struck him head-on, cutting off the connection between him and Yan Ling. Then he opened the red gourd, patted the surface, and the red gourd produced a suction force that sucked Yan Ling in. Sarutobi Hiruzen vaguely understood that he had fallen into Ginkaku's way, so he couldn't help cursing. Damn it, you. Before he could finish his sentence, the red gourd produced another suction force, so powerful that Hiruza Sarutobi couldn't resist it. In the nick of time, a flying thunder god Kumai stood between the two, his figure flashed, and Sarutobi Hiruzen appeared in the door of Senju to save Sarutobi Hiruzen. The characteristics of time and space ninjutsu allowed him to slightly change this suction. It's troublesome now. After a little understanding of the functions of the 3 ninja tools in Kinkaku's hands, Toizumi frowned. These are probably ninja tools that work through the words of the enemy. The person who touches the golden rope will spit out the word spirit of his frequently used vocabulary, and the 7-star sword can cut off and curse the opponent's word spirit. Then the red gourd holds the severed speech spirit, records the speech spirit and seals it, and the person concerned will be sucked into the gourd when he speaks key words and utters words that are similar in pronunciation to the keywords. Even going long without speaking can get stuck. Right now, there are still 2 ninja tools that have not been tested. Even if it is as strong as Tobarama, it is extremely difficult. It is fine if you are alone. If you can't beat them and run away, they can't do anything to you, but now you have so many disciples by your side. The help in the past has become a burden in front of this strange ninja. They are the future of Konoha. Without them, Konoha's development will definitely be faulted. More and more cloud ninjas were attracted by the sound of their fighting in the distance. And they don't know the inside story, so they will definitely help Kinkaku, who is also Yunin. It's not sure what the fan and bottle-shaped ninja are for. If you continue to fight like this, you must be the one who suffers. Tobarama escaped Ginkaku's attack again, his mind turned and he sighed. Leaving Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others would only distract him, and if they were encountered by the weird ninja tools of Kinkaku later, then he would have to save them. If Danzo is here, maybe he can help himself. Make up your mind. Turning to them, he said, "Rezon, I will entangle Kinkaku later, you guys break out first." But Sarutobi Hiruzen gritted his teeth, facing an enemy far more numerous than his own, he still wanted to say something. Tobarama waved his hand, interrupting his words, "Don't do it. This is Hokage's order. Water escape heaven weeps." Like the rain falling in the cloudless space and time, the unexpected water needles, the water needles ejected from the mouth at high speed, are sent to the sky. It also carried kinetic energy to cover most of the cloud ninjas. For a while, it was like countless silver needles falling from the sky, making the enemy unintentionally attack. The technique of multiple shadow clones. A puff of smoke drifted past, and more than a dozen doors appeared on the field, swarming up and wrapping gold horns and silver horns, so that they had no time to disturb themselves. Then Tobarama glanced around, aiming at the weakest part of Yunin's encirclement. The handprints were flying, and dozens of knots were completed in an instant. Water escape water dragon bite. A huge water vortex emanates from the foot of Tobarama, and then uses the upward water flow to blow away the enemies in front of him, and the rising water flow gathers into a huge water dragon and rushes towards Yun Ren fiercely. Bang bang bang. All the clouds standing in the way endured death and were crippled. 20 or so Yun Ren lay on the ground, life and death unknown. After cleaning up the shadow clones, Kinkaku saw this scene, and his heart paid more attention to Tobarama. As expected of the second generation of Hokage, in an environment without water, it can create this level of water escape. Forcibly relying on his own strength to kill a bloody path. After releasing several high-level ninjutsu in succession, even Tamama felt powerless for a while. With a hard bite, he ate the Binglang pill that was previously hidden in his mouth. The taste is not very good, but the chakra in the body is indeed slowly recovering. "Teacher, take care." Sarutobi Hiruzen knelt on both knees and kowtowed heavily. He got up, wiped away his tears, picked up a shuriken in his left hand, and threw it vigorously. Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. Throwing a huge shuriken forward, Shuriken Shadow cloned tens of thousands of shurikens to attack continuously. In an instant, the remaining cloud ninjas on the road were all repelled. "Everyone, retreat." Hiruzen Sarutobi turned and shouted at the members of the Hokage Guard who were still fighting. Uchiha Kagami killed an enemy in front of him and glanced unwillingly at Tobirama. Although they were reluctant to leave, it was a burden for them to stay here. The mood is violently excited. Sanguyu's riding wheel eye turned rapidly, and there was a faint change. Mizukido Yan and others could only grit their teeth and leave. As elite Jonin, they felt how weak they were for the first time. Ha ha ha, Tobirama, your disciples have abandoned you. Kinkaku laughed loudly when he saw Sarutobi Hiruzen and others leave. HMPH, so that I can free my hands and feet to fight you hard. After seeing their figures disappear, Tobirama was relieved, and his eyes were blazing with fighting intent. Now it is necessary to entangle the golden horn and silver horn in front of him, so that they cannot catch up with Sarutobi Hiruzen. The rest of you, go and block them all, and let these distinguished guests from Konoha experience the hospitality of our Cloud Ninja. Kinkaku licked his lips, turned his head and said to the group of Cloud Ninjas who surrounded the gate. Letting these Chunin and Junin level Cloud Ninjas face Hokage is basically to deliver food, not to mention that Tobirama has the Flying Thunder God art in his hand, so it doesn't make much sense for them to surround them. Yes. More than 100 Yunren who were present bowed their heads in response, and with a flash of figure, they chased in the direction where Sarutobi Hiruzen and others broke through. Seeing the disappearance of these Cloud Ninjas, Tobirama couldn't help but sweat for Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others. It is not an easy task to break through from Cloud Ninja Village all the way to the Land of Fire. But the most dangerous thing for them is the golden and silver horns in front of them. If facing Yun Nin who was chasing him up, there might still be a glimmer of life, but when encountering these two guys, he couldn't beat them at all. They must be led in the opposite direction from Hiruza Sarutobi's escape. With a flick of the wrist, several flying Thunder God Kunai flew away. Continue to fight. The golden-horned and silver-horned beast pupil locked onto Hima, and its claws moved quickly on the roof of the street. Seeing them chasing after him, he said, "That's exactly what I meant. Water escape hard vortex water blade. Create a water vortex in the hand and condense the form into a water javelin, layered in non-directional rapid rotation, pinched in the hand." The figure attacked from a distance at a high speed, and the water blade in his hand shone brightly, just like the lines drawn by a painter. With a plantain fan in Kinkaku's hand, the 5 major ninjutsu of fire, water, thunder, wind and earth struck. Interlaced silver light. The water blade breaks through ninjutsu with various attribute changes. It was so powerful that it broke the tailed beast coat of the golden horn and silver horn several times, and wiped countless tiny bloodstains on their bodies. Numerous surrounding houses have collapsed, and the battle of the Super Shadow Ninja is enough to change the landscape. He slapped the door on the ground, and engraved the Flying Thunder God's spell on the several tiles that were padded. The tiles broke through the air in an instant, and Tobirama also rushed forward. A white light shuttled between the gold and silver horns. This man really made fighting into an art. Ginkaku raised his hand and touched his face, a bright red came into view. The arrogance of getting the 6-path ninja tools has been slightly lowered. With his own chakra sufficient, they couldn't even touch the corner of his clothes. The fastest ninja in the ninja world broke out with all his strength, fighting against 2 Super Shadow level powerhouses alone. They looked at each other and calmed down. They no longer opened their teeth and claws, but put away their sharp edges, like a poisonous snake, ready to strike a fatal blow at any time. Sarutobi Hiruzen and others continued to break through the blockades of the Cloud Ninjas. They could no longer remember how far they had run, they only knew that they were desperately trying to escape. The chakra in the body is gradually depleted, and the pain is constantly coming from the whole body, which is a sign of excessive chakra extraction. In desperation, he ran to a hidden place to rest. The Binglang pill hidden in his mouth has been exhausted. Could it be? Are we really going to die here? Not reconciled. Tobirama Sensei has left behind the most terrifying enemy, and even left a lot of Jonin there. But they still couldn't escape. Hiruzen Sarutobi endured the discomfort just now, and once again used ninjutsu to break through the blockade line composed of several Chunin. My head is dizzy, and double images appear in front of my eyes. Biting the tip of his tongue hard, the pain stimulated Sarutobi Hiruzen to wake up again, turned his head and asked. Shaochan. How many enemies are behind? As the sentient ninja in the team, Zhuanwan Shaochan kept a relatively large number of chakras, and panting, he replied, 10 elite JNIN, a dozen JNIN, and countless Chunin are searching for us. How many enemies are there in front? There are at least 5 blockades ahead, and I can't detect any further. Sarutobi Hiruzen recognized the surrounding terrain with an ugly face. This is probably the middle area between Yunnan village and the border of the Land of Thunder, but they can't escape at all in their current state. Damn. Why are we so weak? Uchiha Kagami punched the big tree beside him, lowered his head, tears flowed from the tip of his nose, and dripped to the ground. It must be bad luck for Mr. Tobarama to stay there. If they all confess here, Iwanan and Mistnan will definitely make a comeback. At that time, the villagers will be caught in the flames of war again. He no longer wants to see the clansmen and villagers cry. Although he won the last battle, almost the entire Uchiha was covered with white cloth. Every family wears mourning. And Konoha is even more so. The deaths of more than 1,000 Konoha ninjas represent the tears of more than 1,000 families. This is what Uchiha Kagami cherishes, but he can't protect it. The negative emotions generated in the mind continue to stimulate Sharingan, and the yin chakra in the body is getting more and more. The Guyu in Sharingan keeps spinning, and finally merges into a point, showing a blade-like shape. Suddenly, several Cloud Ninja elite Jonin behind them discovered their resting place, took up weapons and attacked without hesitation. Looking at the exhausted Sarutobi Hiruzen and others, their faces were full of greed and excitement. If he killed them, he would have made a great contribution. I found them, come on. The Cloud Ninjas who were searching in the distance heard his words and approached one after another, like hyenas smelling blood. Sarutobi Hiruzen and others forced themselves to stand up, preparing to mobilize a trace of chakra that had just recovered to deal with it. But they found that they were surrounded by a black flame. Damn it. What are these flames? Hurry up, put them out with water escape. It hurts too much. The panicked Cloud Ninjas stopped attacking and used water escape ninjutsu to each other, but gradually they discovered that the flame could not be extinguished at all. Turning his head and looking, he found that Uchiha Kagami was using the Sharingan to look directly at those Cloud Ninjas. The Guyu in the riding Sharingan disappeared and was replaced by a windmill like a blade. With the rotation of the kaleidoscope, blood and tears flowed from the eyes. What a terrifying power. Seeing such power, Hiruzen Sarutobi murmured. Those Cloud Ninjas whose strength was no less than his own turned into piles of coke and sprinkled on the ground. Although they were already dead, Yunnan in the distance was getting closer and closer, forming a circle around them again. Jing, can you use this fire escape again? Seeing this situation, Sarutobi Hiruzen turned his head to look at Kagami Uchiha, and said expectantly. Uchiha Kagami forced a smile, I can. Before he could finish his sentence, he fell down straight. Turning to bed, Shaochan quickly supported him, felt his physical condition, frowned, and shook his head. Mirror's body has already used up all the chakra, and using such a powerful fire escape just now must have consumed the energy of the body again, and it may have damaged the lifespan. Bite off a strip of cloth, bandage the injured arm, summon Vajra Ruyi, and stare at the enemies all over the mountains and plains. The voice is dead. Shaochan, put your back on the mirror, Menyan, take the wind, we will try our best to fight your way out. The pale-faced two nodded firmly, picked up their weapons, and confronted an enemy whose number was 10 times that of their own. The border between the two countries. Who is coming? Hurry up and stop. Yunnan, who was guarding the border, saw the black lightning approaching extremely fast, shouted loudly, and rang the alarm bell at the same time, and more than 10 Yunnan appeared from all around. Come. Shimura Danzo, get out of the way. Seeing these Cloud Ninjas stopped him, Danzo stopped and said. Sorry, without the rakeage warrant, it is impossible for us to let a person from another country enter our country. If you want to enter, please allow me to inform you. The leader Shinobi's eyes flickered. He was also the hawk among the Cloud Ninjas, and the purpose of Jinkaku Kinkaku's sending him was to hold back Konoha's ninja. The moonlight reflected on the slightly drawn weapons of the Cloud Ninjas, and the cold light reflected from the iron made Danzo narrow his eyes. Knowing in his heart that Ginkaku Kinkaku might have already acted, Danzo smiled, looking quite kind. Okay. Then I'll wait for your reply. These words made the vigilant Yunnan relax a lot, and it was not their idea to fight the famous strong man in the ninja world in front of them. Gently patted Toothless Boy's head with his hand, and the flames accumulated by Toothless Boy, who had a heart-to-heart relationship with Danzo, spewed out. Several Chunin died on the spot. A mouthful of dragon flame instantly broke through the interception of the Cloud Ninjas. With a flutter of wings, he flew across the sky at high speed, and went to rescue the trapped Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others. The Cloud Ninja Frontier team who reacted realized that Danzo was lying to them. A Jongnin asked the captain of the ninja. Captain, are we going to chase? Kamanen said angrily. Do you think we can catch up at our speed? Tell Mrs. Ginkaku that the mission failed, and some Konoha ninjas have already rushed to the village. Looking at several of his subordinates who have become corpses, even his psychic beast has such strength, isn't he stronger? I went head to head with him only when I had a problem with my head. Joining the Eagle faction is only for profit, and then I will ask Mr. Ginkaku to give me some help. Otherwise, he would become a dove undercover in the Hawks. The soaring signal bomb flew into the sky. White blazes bloomed throughout the night. Dazzling light covered half of the land of thunder. All the cloud ninjas in the blockade saw this scene with solemn expressions. This means that Konoha ninja broke into the land of thunder, and the border team's interception mission has failed. Almost instantly, the blockade lines near the border all took action, and more than 100 cloud ninjas jumped on the branches of the trees, trying to stop the Konoha ninja who dared to sabotage the plan. There are still many unexplained cloud ninjas in the distance who also acted. They didn't understand Ginkaku's plan, but since someone broke into the border recklessly, it meant he was an enemy. The enemy is coming, kill without mercy. The black figure pierced through the clouds and flew quickly over the forest. Danzo looked into the distance, anxious in his heart. Ginkaku must have done it, otherwise Yunin would not be so strange. Thunderbolt Thunderball. Fire escape Flame Bullet. Wind escape Big Breakthrough. Suddenly, more than a dozen ninjutsu appeared from the forest and soared into the sky, and the target was Toothless who was flying in the sky. Quick! Knock them down, don't let them get close to the village. An elite Jonin shouted to the hundreds of Yunin around him. Even if they are all dead, Danzo must not be allowed to interfere with the plans of the two adults. Toothless managed to maintain a stable flight, and as soon as he dodged a ninjutsu, the next ninjutsu attacked and knocked them down. Shimura Danzo, give up, there is absolutely no way we will let you go. The elite Junin at the front of the line held their weapons, stepped forward and shouted. It seems that if I don't kill you, I can't go there. Seeing this, Danzo didn't want to talk nonsense, so he drew his sword directly. Armed Color stepped forward. With a single slash, the figure shuttled back and forth, and the digital Chunin died instantly. Thousands of leaves in the surrounding forest fell off with the Danzo sword wind, surrounded the Zanpaka sword, and shot forward. The chopped leaves did not fall lightly to the ground, but were contaminated with the wind chakra on the blade, doubling the lethality. Driven by the gust of wind, the leaves are like the sharpest sharp weapon, launching indiscriminately in all directions. Each blade can take a life. Those with lower strength among young ninja looked terrified and tried their best to support themselves, but their bodies were still cut. In an instant, more than 10 cloud ninjas collapsed to the ground. But the number of cloud ninjas has not decreased, but has increased, and all the ninjas around are still coming. Staring at the ever-increasing cloud ninjas, Danzo was in an extremely bad mood. Although he could kill them, it would definitely consume time. If they can't be solved in a short time, there will still be new cloud ninjas to fill in the distance. Playing crowd tactics, Danzo now understands how the rock ninjas will deal with the third generation of Raikage in the future. Today's Overlord color can only clear the miscellaneous fish of the lower ninja level, and the cloud ninjas standing on the field are the lowest ninja. Every minute that passes, Tobirama-sensei becomes more dangerous. It seems that only forbidden techniques can be used. With a sinking mind, Danzo feels the negative emotional body that already has a human form in the sealing circle. Let it out now, there will definitely be no small consequences. But now I don't care about that much anymore. The eyes glowed red, the sealing circle rotated rapidly, and black smoke emerged from between the eyebrows, wrapping around Danzo's body like a living thing. Click. The sealing circle was slowly released, and the ghost mask swept across the whole body at an extremely fast speed like a beast out of its cage. Unlike the previous few times, Zanpakuto seems to have been affected slightly. A group of Yunin looked at Danzo whose temperament had changed drastically, and took up weapons without daring to neglect at all. Danzo only felt that his heart was completely shrouded in negative emotions. Arrogant. Hey. Fury. Lazy. Greedy. Gluttony. Lust. The 7 original sins of mankind. Now it is affecting Danzo's original mind every moment. Yun Nin on the opposite side stared wide-eyed. If they were just afraid of Danzo before, then they are afraid now. A feeling of being targeted by natural enemies welled up in my heart. Several elite ninjas regained their composure and quickly ordered, attack me quickly. I hope to kill Danzo who is still in a daze as soon as possible through ninjutsu. The cloud ninjas who received the order endured their fear and formed seals in their hands. Fire escape. Water escape. Thunder escape. Tuden, wind escape. Ninjutsu of 5 natures came through the air and gathered together, destroying all the trees along the way, roaring and impacting. Danzo raised his head slowly, the corners of his mouth curled up, and a bloodthirsty light flashed in his eyes, and the toothless boy behind him seemed to rush towards his back. One person and one dragon fused together. Block it, black-winged demon. The clear and cloudless sky was quickly covered by dark clouds, and black raindrops fell in waves. The sound of raindrops seemed to hit every cloud heart at this moment. Devil-like horns protruded from the head, and dragon wings spread out from behind. The condescending aura was enough to overwhelm every opponent. Raising his arms, he did not dodge or evade the frenzied ninjutsu. A cluster of black spots gathered on his fingertips. Black flash. The torrent of ninjutsu collided with that black light beam and disappeared invisible. Stir up a mighty cloud of dust. Did it work? That monster? A cloud ninja stared at the smoke and murmured. Dust slowly fell to the ground. Shimura Danzo stood where he was, unscathed. Suddenly his figure disappeared from everyone's sight, and several Yun-Ren collapsed to the ground at the same time. A line of blood seeped from their necks, but Yunin couldn't find Danzo at all. No, it should be said that the speed is so fast that they can't catch it with naked eyes. Come out, bastard. A rat who hides his head and shows his tail. During the time of speaking, another 10 or so Yunin fell down. Ah. The rest of the people began to release ninjutsu indiscriminately in extreme fear. For a moment, the light of ninjutsu exploded in the forest. Slowly, the forest returned to calm, and a black light left at a high speed. Only the messy forest and nearly corpses can explain the tragedy of the scene. Cloud Ninja Village Chronicle. The night the second Raikage died. There is a demon, with red pupils and double horns. Sexual bloodthirsty, unparalleled combat power. With a flutter of wings, it soared in the 9 heavens and thousands of miles above the forest. This feeling of explosive power in the body is extremely addictive. Constantly trying to pull the host into the quagmire. Totally lost myself. Danzo resisted the idea of destroying everything, and kept flying towards Yunin village. The sharp wind blew on Danzo's face, but he gently stroked his cheek like a sympathizer. The remaining sanity is like duckweed in the rain and candlelight in the wind. The only thought in my heart is to get to teacher Tobarama as soon as possible. Occasionally, the Cloud Ninja team wanted to intercept Danzo, but they couldn't last a round in his hands. Looking at the sky with both eyes, I found a place with the aftermath of the battle. Then fly towards there. Compound Ninja Earth Dragon Flame Stream. The combination of Earth Ninjutsu and Fire Ninjutsu. As soon as the fire-breathing Earth Dragon comes out, it temporarily repels the Cloud Ninjutsu who are peeping around. Sarutobi Hiruzen half kneeled on the ground panting. King Kong Ruyi turned into the Ape Demon King to block the enemy from one side. Even with the Vajra body, the Ape Demon King had numerous wounds, dripping with blood. The chakra on the psychic has no time to heal it. Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled apologetically at the Demon King Ape. Old man, I'm sorry. The Ape Demon King knocked back a Cloud Ninja with one punch. Even though he was seriously injured, he still smiled boldly. What are you talking about, Rizan? It should be my honor to live and die together. Everyone, maybe, we can't kill them. Mito Menyon had already fainted, and Akamichi Torikaze was unable to maintain the doubling technique. The armor on his body was cut by the enemy, revealing bloody wounds. Apparently it won't last long. No, everyone, there must be a way. Turning to sleep, Xiaochen shed tears and cast the Palm Immortal technique on the fainted two to prevent their injuries from getting worse. The place where the Konoha team can fight is getting smaller and smaller, and a circle has been formed around it. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Chudao takes the wind, turns to sleeping Xiaochen. The Ape Demon King 3 people and 1 beast stand back to back with kunai in their hands, protecting the two who fainted. The chakra on his body has been exhausted, and he can only rely on physical skills to fight for his life. You guys are really tough opponents, Yunin said with a smirk. There were nearly 100 Yunin corpses on the ground, and the 100 people I brought almost couldn't do anything to them. There are only dozens of Yunin standing on the field. Another Yun Nin looked up and down Xiaochun's figure, and said with a lewd smile, "Leave this little girl to me." With a scar on his face, Yunin stared at Uchiha Kagami greedily. He had experienced the power of Sharingan just now. That Uchiha's eyes are also gouged out, that's Kaleidoscope Sharingan. Seeing that they were already arranging the whereabouts of himself and others, Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression turned ugly. Turning to bed, Xiaochen was trembling even more, couldn't help looking up, saw a familiar figure in the sky, and shouted in surprise, "Then that's Danzo?" As soon as the words came out, everyone present looked up in the direction she was pointing. He had a handsome face like a demon, with 2 horns protruding from his forehead, 2 wings growing on his back, his eyes were red like blood, and his aura was as if he had just crawled out of hell, full of terrifying tyranny. This aura is more frightening than Master Ginkaku Kinkaku. Everyone beware. The leader Yun couldn't help but clench the sword in his hand, his palms were covered with sweat, he turned his head and shouted at his ninjas. How did Danzo become like this? Sarutobi Hiruzen, who is most familiar with Danzo, looked at his state, a little dazed, and intuitively told him that the current Danzo was very wrong. Danzo didn't pay attention to Xiaochen, who turned to sleep, and his scarlet eyes locked on all the people who wore the Cloud Ninja forehead guard. Messages kept coming from my mind, eager for blood, thirst to kill. In a flash, he disappeared in place. In the next second, the Cloud Ninjas surrounding the Konoha team fell down like wind blowing a wheat field. The sword in his hand fell to the ground and merged with the flowing blood. Their faces were calm, and they didn't know why they died for a second before they were alive. Such a painless death might be a good thing, too. The air was filled with the smell of blood, and Danzo smelled it happily, and his sanity recovered a little. Spent some life energy for the fainted too and recovered their bodies. Put down some ration pills. Then he looked at Hiruzen Sarutobi with a bad expression on his face. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Danzo, who was standing still, and bumped and said, "Danzo." Turning his head abruptly, his figure flashed, and a hand was placed around his neck and raised. Such a gap in strength made his scalp tingle. One must know that his strength is almost at the shadow level. The scarlet eyes quietly watched Hiruzen Sarutobi and said, "You said, when I'm not in the Hokage guard, who is the captain?" "It's me." Sarutobi Hiruzen struggled. Danzo sneered, and asked word by word. "What is the duty of the Hokage guard?" "Defend Hokage." Hiruzen Sarutobi was silent for a while, "But the enemy is too strong, I." With a flick of his hand, his body was thrown to the ground and rolled on the ground. "Hey, you are still a coward in your heart, so what if you die to defend Hokage? This is the honor of the guards." Everyone else present fell silent. As the guard of Hokage, but let Hokage die, this is a shame that cannot be washed away. Too lazy to look at them again, Danzo flapped his wings and flew towards Yunin village again. After waking up, Uchiha stood up. "Danzo is right, since we are Hokage guards, there is no reason to sacrifice Hokage." Everyone present nodded their heads. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at them, sighed, got up and looked at Yunin village, which he fled just now. "Recover on the spot, let's fight back, take back our glory. Thousands of hands, I call you, will you agree or not?" Kinkaku wiped the blood on his face with his big hand, looking extremely ferocious, and held up the amber bottle. Only a sharp kunai followed by Thor's sword responded to him. As soon as the 7-star sword came out, it blocked the extremely sharp Thunder God sword, and just about to make another blow, the flying Thunder God was launched from the door, and disappeared in place. Ginkaku spat unluckily to the side. "Grandma's leg. Whether we cheat or you cheat, the two of them plus a group of Cloud Ninjas can't take it down." Pulling some distance away from Ginkaku and Kinkaku, hiding in the flying Thunder God spell point that he had set before, he was panting heavily, and his physical strength was a little weak. Don't look at him fighting freely, effortlessly, but he consumes countless chakras. If it weren't for the unique chatanla of the body of Thousand Hands, he wouldn't be able to survive. Just the flying Thunder God jutsu is an S-ranked ninjutsu, not to mention the various forbidden techniques that he has mastered. Everyone is a big chakra eater. The most terrible thing is that his water dungeon has been overwhelmed by Thunder Dungeon, making it difficult to use. Once he gives himself a thunder escape when he is performing water escape, then he is afraid it will be a bad thing, but the Cloud Ninjas have practiced ninjutsu. This amount of power means little to them, but not necessarily to themselves. In a trance, he didn't notice a black figure slowly circled behind him. "I found you, little mouse," Kinkaku shouted as he held up the 7-star sword and swung it down. The fighting nerves trained on the battlefield for many years were instantly tense, and he launched the flying Thunder God again to leave the place. Seeing that this move didn't work, Kinkaku didn't feel depressed at all, instead, there was an inexplicable look in his eyes. Subconsciously follow the nearest flying Thunder God seal. Unexpectedly, someone was already squatting there. Bang. What? He staggered between the doors, and received a heavy blow in the back, and Ginkaku's golden rope had already touched his real body. He pinched Yan Ling between the doors, and laughed wildly. Ha ha ha, Senju Tobarama. What are you fighting against me with? I want people, I want food, and I want to maintain my best state at all times. And you? I'm afraid I'm too tired now. A dog against the master is not worthy of talking to me. The sword of Thunder God was full of lightning, and Kanai threw it out, trying to regain his speech spirit. Once Yan Ling is taken down, he will definitely be helpless in fighting. Flying Thunder God Slash. The ultimate move used for the first time in front of Ginkaku used time and space to move to the dead corner of the enemy with the Flying Thunder God formula, and then attacked the opponent's vital points with lightning speed. Uchiha Kwana, who claimed to hardly show any flaws, died under this trick. Successful. As soon as this idea came to mind, a terrifying breath came from behind, and after a mental search, the tailed beast Jade. In desperation, he could only turn around and deal with it. Flying Thunder God Guide Thunder. Using the Flying Thunder God around him to transmit it to another place, but it also means that his attack failed. As expected of Senjubajian, under such circumstances, you almost turned the tables. Kinkaku walked slowly, raised the 7-star sword and slashed down, taking the azure blue word spirit into his pocket. Tobarama's heart sank to the bottom, and the situation became more and more unfavorable to him. Then what kind of monster is that? Suddenly, a cloud ninja pointed to the sky with his face full of horror. The people present looked in the direction he pointed, and a black light struck at a very fast speed. For some reason, even just looking at him, I felt a tremor in my heart. Several cloud ninjas who were overwhelmed by their own strength jumped up to stop them, but they were pierced through and disappeared invisible under the huge force. The figure approached quickly. The familiar face made Ginkaku and Kinkaku's teeth itch. Konoha Hokage Guard, Shimura Dan is hiding here. Tobarama was surprised and delighted to see Danzo coming. But feeling the evil aura emanating from him, his heart sank. With a flutter of wings, he came to Tobarama, Teacher Tobarama. Tobarama gently stroked Danzo's face with his hand. His eyes were scarlet, and black lines were densely covered his body. Even Tobarama was shocked by the negative energy generated. He firmly believes that all power has a price. Danzo's current state must have opened a seal that has not healed completely. If it goes on for a long time, his mind will definitely be deceived. By then, Danzo will no longer be Danzo. With a cold face on purpose, he persuaded. Isn't it just these two people? Your teacher, I can stand it, now hurry up and seal the demon. Where the leaves dance, so does the fire. The light of the fire will continue to illuminate the village and cause new leaves to sprout. You have grown up, and my task, teacher, has been completed. No matter how Tobuma persuaded him, Danzo nodded with a smile and did not make any rebuttals. I said, don't you two take us too seriously. Silverhorn yelled, seeing that the two of them didn't take themselves seriously. Danzo, who was still smiling just now, suddenly turned his head, and a dark green spear appeared in his hand, and he threw it fiercely at the Silverhorn that opened his mouth. Kinkaku's expression changed, and he forcibly grabbed the flying spear, but was taken back a few steps. Looking down, the tiger's mouth was cracked and blood was coming out of his hand. With Danzo's attack again, Tobarama saw that the negative energy on his body increased by 1 point visible to the naked eye. He knew in his heart that although Danzo's strength was enough to defeat Kinkaku, every time he made a move, the inner demon would take a step further. Gritting his teeth, he took out a letter of appointment from his pocket and handed it to Danzo, standing in front of him with the Thunder God sword in his hand. As the second Hokage, I am the third Hokage of Fengshi Village Danzo, and I will bring Hirazan and the others back to the village immediately. This is the last order of the second Hokage. Danzo took the letter of appointment, threw it back without even reading it, and said with a grin, okay, the first order of the third Hokage, please Konoha Ninja Senju to rest behind the door. Tobarama and Danzo stared wide-eyed, neither of them took a step back. Ginkaku and Kinkaku couldn't bear it anymore. Tonight was when they were full of ambition, and they hated others not to take them seriously. Ma Lagobi, you two, master and apprentice, are deceiving people too much. It's embarrassing for Yun Nin to be so embarrassing now. The brothers below are all watching. The full-body-tailed beast chakra erupted, facing the two of them. Sign. Every time Kinkaku punched, the air exploded. After the warm-up is over, place your feet firmly on the ground. The rocky ground was shattered by the powerful force, and the tailed beast chakra gave another boost. The whole person flew over. Turn around at the waist and mobilize the strength of the whole body. He came to Danzo almost instantly, and a heavy cannon punch hit the face directly. Kinkaku didn't hold anything back in this move, and the morning in the air made a triumphant smile appear on his face. He couldn't wait to see Danzo's handsome face deformed under his hands. Bang! Thick dust filled the surroundings. The uninhabited houses on both sides were torn apart by the aftermath of the shock, turning into pieces of ruins. The powerful blow was blocked by Danzo's hand. The joy on his face stiffened. Kinkaku looked at his attacking arm in disbelief, and he simply blocked the blow with all his strength. Is that the only level? Danzo looked at Ginkaku expressionlessly. Ginkaku, who didn't use the 6 ninja tools, was at best a cage class with some strength. I thought I could find a good opponent here. Now Danzo only feels that there is nowhere to vent his strength. Shaking his head in disappointment, he squeezed his fist hard and pressed it down slowly. Crackling. The sound of bones breaking came from Ginkaku's fist. Ah! 10 fingers connected to the heart, not to mention the entire palm. A piercing pain spread from the fist to the whole body. Kinkaku was so painful that he broke out in cold sweat, and his feet trembled. Stop. Seeing his brother's miserable situation, Ginkaku reluctantly dropped the word spirit in the leaf, and slashed at Danzo with the 7-star sword in his hand. The blade was extremely sharp, aimed at Danzo's neck, and slashed straight down, trying to force his arm back. Looking at the incoming 7-star sword, Danzo didn't dare to be careless. The black energy in the hand is permeated, forming a glove, which catches Ginkaku's blow head-on. The 7-star sword deserves to be called the ninja tool of the 6 paths, and the power of the sword broke through the protection of Danzo's energy. Facing Danzo's palm, he cut off it, looking like this. I'm afraid he wanted to cut off his arm. Frowning, he could only drop Kinkaku's palm. Raising his palm to look, a faint bloodstain suddenly appeared on his palm. The slight pain made Danzo even more excited, and the black energy surged again, and the injury was healed in a moment. On the opposite side, Kinkaku's arms were drooping, and his clothes were soaked in cold sweat from the pain. Tailed beast chakra kept repairing his comminuted fractured palm. This man is so scary. Ginkaku looked at Danzo fearfully. Danzo met his eyes and smiled. The black energy on his body was like a living thing, forming a devil's smiling face above him. This smiling golden horn didn't feel warm at all. Instead, it was full of bloodthirsty and madness, like a hunter meeting his prey in the forest. Danzo's demonic energy is getting heavier and heavier. Tomono worriedly looked at the crazy Danzo. The sealing technique he mastered was far less subtle than Danzo, and once it grew stronger, he might not be able to control it. Can't help shouting, Danzo. Huh? Danzo, with scarlet eyes, turned his head and looked straight at Tobirama, which surprised him. The original gentle expression disappeared, and the 4 words appeared in Tobirama's heart. The eagle sees the wolf and Jiu Zhixiang. After seeing the door, Danzo's eyes became clearer. What's the matter? Teacher. You have to stop. Tobuma said solemnly. Okay. Before he could breathe a sigh of relief, Danzo turned his head and stared at Kinkaku again. We'll talk about it after I kill them both. The black hair danced wildly, and Danzo's eyes became even crazier. Second stage returning blade. After liberation, Danzo's upper body clothes disappeared, and the abdomen to legs, arms and back were covered with black feathers, and the lower part of the robe was divided into 2 halves. The wings are fully spread, exposing the bat's claws. The horns on the helmet become longer and sharper upwards, and grow a long tail that can be freely manipulated. There is a bony object like a knife at the tip of the tail. At this moment, even Tobirama couldn't help taking a step back. The madness on Danzo's face disappeared, replaced by a calm face. But Danzo like this is even more frightening. With a flutter of wings, it disappeared quickly. If it is said that Tabina possesses the power of time and space ninjutsu to disappear from everyone's sight, then Danzo is purely his own speed, and the moving images that can be captured by the naked eye can no longer keep up with his speed. Without warning, the back of Ginkaku's head was pressed down, his face touched the ground, and he was pushed in hard again. The whole person stood upside down on the ground like an onion. The tailed beast chakra on his body gradually returned to his body, and the ground was slowly stained red with blood. Just as Silverhorn's nerves came to his senses, Jin Horn had already been stuck on the ground without knowing his life or death, and his heart was still in shock. The speed unexpectedly exceeded the reaction speed of his battle-tested nerves. Danzo turned around slowly and looked at him, but he couldn't lift his arm immediately. Is it too slow? No, Danzo's speed has reached the extreme. Among the people present, only Tomono could see Danzo. After all, he himself was also good at speed. But being able to see is different from reacting. Tobuma asked himself. When he was fighting with Ginkaku and Kinkaku, Tobuma was confident that he could drag them to death until they died together. If he is Danzo's opponent, there is absolutely no guarantee of victory. Thunder Gun. A spear-shaped spiritual body was produced in the hand, which penetrated Kinkaku's chest extremely quickly and extremely slowly, and was nailed to the ground. Kinkaku witnessed the whole process of his own death, but his body couldn't move at all. Fear and trembling filled his heart. Why do I want to provoke such a monster? After solving the two, Danzo raised his head again, looked at the shivering hawk cloud ninjas, and smiled kindly. In the next second, blossoming blood plum blossoms bloomed on the battlefield. Feel the fragrance of blood in the air. Danzo took a deep breath, and looked at the Yunin villagers below with scarlet eyes. The wings fluttered, and the fingers rubbed unconsciously. The brain is filled with the desire to kill. The remaining sanity has been difficult to restrain the desire. Step by step, they approached the villagers of Yunin. Their faces were full of fear. The villagers didn't know about Yunin's coup tonight, nor did they know that the Konoha delegation was besieged. All he knew was that the man in front of him had killed many ninjas from the same village. There are too many dead bodies lying on the ground. 3 generations of Ai woke up from the sweat medicine that Ginkaku Kinkaku had given him. The eagle ninja who imprisoned him had been transferred to the battlefield a long time ago, and now he probably became a corpse on the ground. Seeing Danzo approaching the unarmed villagers, even though his body was a little dizzy, he jumped in front of a group of villagers and blocked them head-on. It's the 3rd generation of Lord Ai. We are saved. Listening to what the villagers said, the 3rd Ai just wanted to smile wryly. To be honest, even the dead 2nd Raikage had no confidence in Danzo in this state. But there is no way, who made him the 3rd generation of Raikage? Bite the bullet and said, Shimura Danzo, what are you doing? Danzo ignored him at all. The black energy on his body was like a living thing, condensed into an arm, and the 3rd generation of Ai was blown away at once. The 5 big and 3 thick bodies turned into meteors and smashed through walls. Falling to the ground weakly, Sandai gritted his teeth and wanted to stand up, but his body was in great pain. When chakra probed, he suffered multiple fractures all over his body. Seeing Danzo, who was obviously not right in the door, he came to Danzo in a blink of an eye, and the sealing technique in his hand emerged, imprinted between his eyebrows. Stop. For this kind of sealing technique that restrains it, Heichi is obviously extremely disgusted. I've been sleepy for so long, come again. It turned out to be so weak, it really could be bullied by anyone. In an instant, he became violent, and Danzo's eyes became even redder. The shallow sealing technique was immediately unraveled. Swish. With his arms stretched out, Danzo crossed Takina's neck and lifted it up. The muscles in his arms were exerted, and his face turned blue. Looking at the expressionless disciple, he murmured, Danzo. Hearing this familiar voice, Danzo's eyes became clearer, and he immediately let go of his palm. Kneeling on the ground, half kneeling, the mind and demons are constantly fighting. As soon as Tobirama touched the ground, he immediately came to Danzo, wanting to check his status. This kind of war in the mind is extremely painful, and the only remaining mind understands that if he stays with himself, it will definitely lead to a big mistake. Enduring the pain, he stood up, flapped his wings, and flew to the sky. The jade pendant around his waist shimmered at this moment, blending into Danzo's body, as if guiding him somewhere. Wait, Danzo, where are you going? Tomono looked at Danzo's leaving back and wanted to catch up, but there was only a little chakra left on his body, which was not enough for a super long-distance flying thunder god. At this moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others arrived after a long time, looked at Tobiramama who was still alive, and shouted in surprise, Teacher, we are here. With an instant body technique, he bowed his head and half knelt in front of Tobirama. Glancing around, looking at the dead body of Yunin on the ground, Sarutobi Hiruzen said with emotion, as expected of a teacher, so many Yunin have lost to the teacher. Tobirama was silent, and now he was not in the mood to speak again. Uchiha Kagami frowned, looking around, but didn't see the figure he wanted to see, and couldn't help asking, Master Hokage, where is the group hiding? He went to the place where the leaves are flying. Tobirama looked into the distance, with a melodious voice, turned around, and said to a group of Konoha delegations, after returning, I plan to build Hokage Rock for my Konoha's third Hokage, Shimura Danzo. Take the 6 ninja tools. This is a trophy. In the huge Yunnan village, no one dared to stop Konoha and his party. This time, the coup between Ginkaku and Kinkaku failed, and the strength of Yunnan village was greatly reduced, almost falling into the ranks of Wukage village. The second generation of Raikage died, the third generation of Raikage was seriously injured, the traitor Jinkaku Kinkaku died, and many high-level Yunnan died in battle. Whether it was the hawks or the doves, nearly 1,000 Yunnan died, most of them were killed by Danzo. From the border to the village, corpses were strewn all the way. In Yunnan village, the children's expressions changed when they talked about Danzo. In the same night, a large number of rock ninjas and fog ninjas took advantage of Konoha's leaderless dragons and launched a massive attack. Without Konoha ninjas noticing, they destroyed countless towns. I don't know how long it has been flying through heavy yellow sand at extreme speed. The fluctuation of jade pendant shortens with the distance. The fluctuations were getting bigger and bigger, and Danzo was soon drawn to a place full of towers. He looked around dizzily, trying to restrain his strength, not to damage the surrounding buildings. The technology here has to catch up with Konoha. Shaking his head, several drones struck, carrying a woman. Wearing a crown and wearing a Mian suit. He raised his head and said to Danzo, "Outsider, I am Queen Lulin, please leave here immediately." A group of soldiers with spears in their hands also surrounded them, pointing their spears at Danzo. "Leave Lulin." Resisting the desire to kill these people, Danzo flapped his wings and flew to the place guided by the jade pendant. "No, stop him, he wants to go to the dragon's veins." The spear was thrown like rain, and Danzo's inner murderous intent surged, and he slowly turned around and stared at them. The turbulent killing intent hit like the waves in the sea, and several guards were scared to pee on the spot. Queen Lulin looked at the leaving Danzo with an ugly expression. Her country was actually entered by this man at will. Perhaps it is time to agree to Lucian's proposal to develop the power of dragon veins. Lulin needs its own defense force. Danzo came to Longmai all of a sudden, took a deep breath, and suppressed his killing intent. Danzo doesn't know what will happen, but if the demons are allowed to go on like this, it will definitely do more harm than good. Slowly approaching this white beam of light, closing his eyes, he plunged into it. White light flashed across his eyes. Looking around, all the tall buildings before had disappeared, leaving only ruins. Yellow sand was everywhere, and his body returned to normal. The negative energy in the body is strangely mixed with the energy of the dragon veins, forming a strange balance. One black and one white, like a yin and yang fish, constantly rotating. All ninjutsu skills are mixed together, and those ninjutsu seem to be like fingers. It seems that there is no need to seal it. Then now, isn't he the same as the master, clapping his hands and shouting whatever? After a preliminary understanding of the power in your body, you start to pay attention to your surroundings. Where is this place? Danzo frowned and watched the environment. Judging from this environment, it should be in the Kingdom of Wind. He looked up at the sun, and after confirming the direction of Konoha, he bit his finger and pressed it on the ground. Spiritualism. A puff of white smoke drifted past, and Toothless Boy jumped up excitedly, licking Danzo's face. As a psychic beast connected with Danzo, it knows what kind of negative influence Danzo suffered before. But I can't help much, I can only be anxious. It's finally settled down now. Ha ha ha, Toothless, I surrender and stop. Danzo looked at it and smiled helplessly. The two played for a while before they stopped. Turning over and riding on Toothless Boy's back, he said to Konoha in the distance, "Let's go, Toothless Boy. Let's go home." Hold head high. Toothless roared excitedly. After returning from the country of Vortex, he ran to the country of Thunder nonstop. He had long missed the delicious food at home. Especially the beautiful grilled fish in the barbecue shop. There is also the newly opened ramen shop, which is said to be a must in the food street, but I haven't tried it yet. Not long after flying, Danzo noticed a group of sand ninjas hurrying up below, and saw the other party shouting at them flying in the sky. Danzo thought for a while, but still fell down. After all, the relationship between Sand Shinobi and Konoha was pretty good, and they didn't participate much in the war. If you pass by their territory, it seems a bit unreasonable not to tell. Who are you? Why have you never seen this psychic beast before? After seeing Danzo's kindness, the leading female Sand Shinobu softened her face and said doubtfully. Hello Sand Shinobi friends, I'm Konoha Ninja, Shimura Danzo. That's my psychic, Toothless. Wei Wei was taken aback, only to realize that he had lost his forehead protection in the previous battle, and while taking out the Konoha forehead protection from the space again, he introduced himself. Shimura Danzo? The female ninja glanced at Konoha's forehead and muttered to herself. Then she and the digital sand ninja looked at each other and surrounded them secretly. Burning escape over steaming to kill. More than a dozen fireballs condensed from her hands, rushing towards Danzo with explosive force. Feeling the energy inside the fireball, Danzo frowned slightly and clapped his hands together. Wind escape big breakthrough. The gust of wind howled, instantly engulfed her fireball, and rushed towards her backwards. The turbulent wind almost blew her away, but Danzo stopped in time, and now he has a lot of questions to ask her. Who are you? Why did you attack me? Sand Ninja Hakura. Oh, why did you attack you? You look like a dog, and you can't find a better partner if you lie. Shimura Danzo is a gray-haired one-eyed dragon. You think you are him? Yi Kang looked Danzo up and down, holding up his weapon and not daring to let go. The blood-stained limit ninjutsu released by a dignified elite Junin was broken by a small wind escape ninjutsu. Someone who can use sea-level ninjutsu to such power is definitely not something they can resist. Only Kazekage can still beat him, right? What? Cyclops. Unexpectedly, Danzo on the opposite side was even more shocked than her. He pressed her shoulder and met his eyes. You mean, Danzo Shimura as a one-eyed dragon, right? Feeling the touch of the body, Yi Kang looked at Danzo's face, his face turned red suspiciously, and he replied in a bumpy voice, yes. Danzo, who got an affirmative answer, couldn't bear it anymore, and he had to go back to Konoha immediately to prove his inner thoughts. Toothless Boy. Let's go now. The instant body technique immediately came to Toothless Boy's back, and flew up into the sky at extreme speed, towards Konoha. I hope that this female ninja remembers wrongly. If she comes to the original parallel time and space, she will be numb. According to him, before going to Yunnan village, One-en and Yannon both had suspicious movements. Tobaramama-sensei suffered such a serious injury, and the chakra extraction was too frequent, so he had to take a good rest. Even if he returned to Konoha, his current physical condition would not be able to stop the joint attack of Wu and Gaidong Wanyue. In any case, they are all at the pinnacle of the movie class. The older generation of ninjas have their own opponents. There are also many blood-stained masters in the Fog Ninja and Rock Ninja. Rushui Muyue clan, Takitori clan. There are also a wide variety of hostile ninjas such as Rongdan, Crystaldan, Explosive Dun, Steeldan, Mingdan, and Zundan. As for the Bronze generation, Uchiha Kagami also opened Sharingan, and has cage-level combat power. Sarutobi Hiruzen is still one line away from the cage class, but he is a little stronger than the Yi Kang in front of him, and he does not have the real power of the cage class. It should take a year or so, and after absorbing the experience of this war, he can break through this obstacle. Hey, wait a minute. Seeing Danzo turned and left, Yi Kang shouted. But how could her speed be comparable to Danzo? She disappeared into the sky in a blink of an eye. Shimura Danzo, wearing a bamboo hat, looked at Konoha in Haratoko. I have some feelings in my heart. I didn't expect that I would travel to this time and space through the dragon veins. Just don't know what time period it is now. When the instant body technique was activated, Konoha's barrier was broken through and she walked in quietly. Konoha in the original time and space, I am afraid that there is no one who has better sealing skills than himself. The bustling and prosperous Konoha street is full of people. Even here, most of them are two-story houses, not even a high-rise residential building. Danzo shook his head when he saw it. Konoha here is not still relying on the Fire Country daimyo to provide funds, right? No way. Did Sarutobi Hiruzen pull it like this? The current village looks similar to when Danzo just took over Konoha's economic department. The whole is like a town. There are 4 heads engraved on Hokage Rock overlooking the whole Konoha. Between the pillars of the Thousand Hands, between the gates of the Thousand Hands, Sarutobi Hiruza, and Namikaze Minato. It seems that it should be a monkey or a small Minato as Hokage. After a little understanding of the current environment, he ate the 3-color ball in his hand, and Danzo complained unceremoniously. The carving technique is too bad. In addition, the beauty that this guy Sarutobi Hiruzen created is even more beautiful than the one I gave the master back then. He glanced dissatisfied at the dirt road on the ground. Such a road must be muddy when it rains. After so many years of development, the level of technology is even worse than that of my time and space. If you want to get rich, you must first build roads. I don't even understand this principle. Unknowingly, I came to the most prosperous area of Konoha, and the smell of ramen came to my nose, and Danzo's eyes lit up after smelling it. Following the smell, I found it, and a very familiar ramen restaurant came into view. A happy ramen. There was a wave of fluctuations in the psychic formula modified by Danzo in his hand. Now Toothless Boy can eat through his temporarily modified psychic array. Toothless Boy, who had swept across half of the snack street just now, became excited again and kept urging him. Silently threw the remaining 3 color balls into the psychic array. It stopped for a while. Walking forward with strides, he opened the curtain of the noodle restaurant. There are already many diners slurping noodles at Suo Suo. Yila, who had just served a bowl of noodles, wiped his hands, and asked with a smile, "Hey, my face-to-face guest, what would you like to order?" "Give me an extra large serving of all your ramen here, thank you." Danzo took off his bamboo hat after sitting on the chair, and pointed to the menu. "Guests, are you sure you want to order so much? Yile Ramen will not welcome any customer who wastes food." Yile has a serious face. As a chef, he will never tolerate someone wasting his hard-earned dishes. "Understood. Just can you open your eyes a little bit when you talk, it feels a bit disrespectful." Danzo nodded, and he has the physique of a pirate, but he never has to worry about wasting food. At worst, food is converted into energy and stored in cells. Yila, who didn't hear the second half of the sentence, turned around in doubt. "Guest, what did you just say?" No, I'm just looking forward to your craftsmanship." After hesitating for a while, he swallowed the words. After all, this person has the legend of Otsutsuki Kagaku. "Then you can just watch the guests." Yila rolled up his sleeves, full of pride. Every big eater is a challenge to the chef. This is the first time he has encountered such an edible diner. Even the patriarch of the Chudao clan, the highest record is only 8 bowls of extra-large noodles. But the person in front of him wants to challenge 12 bowls of different flavors. Bet on his reputation as the #1 ramen chef in the ninja world, he must make satisfactory ramen. At this moment, a voice full of vigor came from outside the curtain. "Uncle Yile, I want to order a special thick char shao ramen." The last boy like this was Matt Dai, a hot-blooded idiot. A small hand lifted the curtain, and the guests who were eating ramen showed a hint of disgust when they saw the boy's face. The blonde hair was a bit haggard, and the blue eyes that should have been like the sea. After seeing so many people in the noodle shop, there was a hint of sadness. The small face has a beard that looks like a fox. Due to malnutrition, the face is not as white and tender as it should be at this age. The thin body is wearing orange clothes that are obviously one size larger. Little Naruto is here. "Wait here, uncle, I'll make it for you." After seeing the visitor, Yile showed a more enthusiastic smile on his face, and quickly asked Naruto to sit down. His eyes are full of love for Naruto. This child is facing too much malice, and he can only help a little or two where he can. The moment Naruto walked in, some diners put down their money and left with indifference on their faces. Many people even cursed in a low voice. "It's really unlucky. I met this guy while having a meal outside. Damn 9-tailed demon fox. Why isn't this monster dead yet? It's this monster that killed so many brave ninjas in the village. I really don't understand why Hokage-sama didn't execute him." All kinds of foul language, full of repulsion and disgust. Even Danzo frowned. The black air in the body felt the malice of the crowd and began to flow slowly. Such a young child, without father and mother, still bears such a blow every day. I really don't know why he can grow into such a passionate idiot. Although they all cursed quietly, Naruto's hearing was much better with Uzumaki's physique. Sometimes he doesn't even want to have such hearing, and everyone is extremely repulsive to him. Only Uncle Yile and 3 generations of grandpas in front of him are willing to smile at him. Therefore, even in the face of the malice of the villagers, Naruto has to eat ramen in the noodle shop that he has saved for a month of living expenses. It was the only light left in his life. Yile kneaded the dough skillfully, and said to Danzo with a sorry face, "Excuse me, guest, can you let me make ramen for this child first?" "Yes." Danzo nodded. This answer made the timid Naruto Uzumaki raise his head in disbelief. Unexpectedly, there is a third person in this village who is willing to accept him. The thin body began to move slowly, and sat beside Danzo. Casting a slight glance at Naruto, he began to calculate his seniority in his heart. Is Namikaze Minato and Kushina the girl's child? That daredevil sister Lugon wants me to be Kushina's godfather, that is to say, Uzumaki Naruto is my god-grandson? Naruto secretly looked up at Danzo, saw that he was looking at him, and thought he was loathing him, so he quickly lowered his head, and the hope in his heart disappeared. That's right, I'm a demon fox kid, how could anyone be kind to me? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be sitting next to you. After bowing his head and apologizing, he wanted to sit a little further away. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Danzo's big hand slapping his head. He retracted his head, closed his eyes, and quickly rolled his body into a ball. After being beaten so many times, Naruto had already figured out a way to make himself feel less pain when he was beaten. The expected pain did not come, but a warm big hand was stroking his hair. Danzo smiled softly. What are you talking about, Naruto? Naruto's eyes widened and he was dumbfounded. This was the first time someone spoke to him so gently. Even the third-generation grandpa didn't touch his hair. The talent brought by Kyuubi allows him to know the emotions of the people around him. The tall and handsome big brother in front of him looked at him with no malice in his eyes, exactly the same as the eyes of the children's parents who I usually envy look at their children. Compared with the malice around, it is like the warm sun in winter. It shone into Naruto's closed heart. The hot ramen was served by Yile, with a tangy aroma. Danzo took a look and found that the char siu in this ramen was obviously much more than other customers' ramen. Wow, it smells so good. I started it. Naruto just picked up the chopsticks, as if thinking of something, pushed the ramen in front of Danzo, swallowed and said, "Please eat ramen, big brother." He turned his head away to avoid getting greedy again when he saw the ramen. Danzo was taken aback for a moment, and then a smile appeared on his face. Kushina has a good boy. After thinking about it, he picked up a spoon, took a mouthful of soup and drank it, and then sent the ramen to Naruto. I've already tasted it. It tastes pretty good. Also, my name is Shimura Danzo. Brother Danzo? It's better for you to eat, I'm not hungry. Naruto patted his chest and said with a smile after reading a few words of Danzo's name. As soon as the words fell, Naruto's stomach made a cuckoo sound. It made him blush involuntarily. Ha ha ha, Naruto, eat quickly. This customer ordered 10 bowls of extra-large ramen. At this moment, Yile brought a bowl of ramen the size of a basin, and said to Naruto with a smile. At the same time, he took a deep look at Danzo, and was sincerely happy for Naruto, and someone recognized him again. Really? 10 bowls of extra-large ramen? Hearing that, Naruto looked at Danzo in disbelief, with a look of admiration on his face. Rubbing Naruto's hair, Danzo smiled gently. Of course, let's compete to see who can finish eating faster. Oh. I am the Hokage of the future. I will definitely not lose to brother Danzo. With a very energetic shout, he began to immerse himself in cooking. Danzo smiled slightly. My stupid grandson, your grandfather and I are already 3 generations of Hokage. Then he looked at the extra-large ramen in front of him, and his eyes lit up as soon as he took a sip. This taste is really good, and it can be regarded as the best among the ramen he has eaten. I couldn't help giving a thumbs up and praised, Mr. Yile, your craftsmanship is very good. Just as long as the customer likes it. Yile, who was kneading the dough, turned her head and smiled, full of pride. For a chef, there is nothing better than the feeling that your food is loved by others. Bowl after bowl of ramen was served, all of which were eaten by Danzo, which was elegant and fast. Ah, it's solved. Naruto got up from the finished bowl, rubbed his stomach in satisfaction, and inadvertently turned his head to look at Danzo, who was already picking his teeth, and the 10 large bowls beside him, stunned. Can't help but give a thumbs up. Brother Danzo, you are the only person I have ever seen who is more powerful than the Chudao clan in terms of appetite. Akamichi clan. Danzo rubbed his stomach and smiled. Before that, he often competed with Chudao Tekazi for food intake. According to him, he can't beat him in terms of strength, and he can't compare to the past in terms of food intake. It's a pity that he lost to himself every time. Stretching, Danzo yawned. Since we're done eating, we need to find a place to live. Ah, isn't brother Danzo from Konoha? Naruto stared at the Konoha forehead guard on Danzo's arm in surprise. I'm Konoha ninja, but because of some minor problems, I can't go home for the time being. Seeing Naruto looking at his Konoha forehead protector, he replied with a smile. His eyes were empty, wondering what happened to the teacher and the others. Suddenly thought of something, Naruto stood up and said energetically, Brother Danzo, you can come to live at my house. I am the only one in my house. Okay, since it's Naruto's invitation, then I'm not polite. Danzo thought for a while, and accepted it with pleasure. Anyway, he is probably the most powerful in Konoha now. Uncle Yile, thank you for your hospitality. Today's ramen is still so delicious. He gave Yile a thumbs up, and then opened the curtain. Brother Danzo, come with me. Danzo looked at his energetic back, laughed and shook his head, and said, "Don't run so fast, be careful of falling." As soon as the curtain was lifted, Danzo's footsteps stopped for a while, and Naruto, who was still running just now, stood there blankly, obviously under the illusion. Standing beside him was a white-haired ninja wearing an Anbu mask, staring at him coldly. Anbu ninja with white hair. It should be Hitaki Tsukumo's son, Hitaki Kakashi. No matter who you are, you must stay away from Uzumaki Naruto. Kakashi looked at Danzo and said coldly. At the same time, I always feel a little familiar in my heart, but I just can't remember it. Looking at Kakashi's appearance, Danzo felt a little funny. Your father didn't dare to be so arrogant in front of me. How dare you, little Kakashi? What if I don't listen to you? Then you have to offend. Seeing this weird man swearing at his identity, Kakashi shrank his pupils, slowly drew out his white fang dagger, and put on a fighting stance. Picking up a branch from the ground, covering it with armed colors, Danzo raised the corner of his mouth, and smiled maliciously. Then see how much sword skills you have with that kid Tsukumo. Shut up. You are not allowed to mention that person. Hearing Hitaki Tsukumo's name, Kakashi instantly opened Sharingan, and the white fang dagger in his hand drew an arc towards Danzo. Facing the blade that was coming towards him, Danzo shook his head in disappointment. This kind of sword technique could not be compared to that of Hitaki Tsukumo at the same age. The branch also made a posture, and Kakashi was shocked to see that this was the sword technique of his Hitaki family. Little Kakashi, let me show you the real white-tooth sword technique, Danzo said, and disappeared instantly. The two rays of light, one white and one black, met and then separated, and the figures of Kakashi and Danzo reappeared in place. Kakashi half knelt on the ground. A strand of white hair swayed and fell to the ground with the wind. A crack appeared on the mask on his face, and then cracks appeared, turning into pieces and dissipating in the wind. Impossible. I was terrified in my heart. A man who appeared out of nowhere used a banner with a wooden sword that was even more powerful than himself, the son of Baiya. Throwing the branch casually, stroking Naruto's hair with his big hand, the illusion he received was immediately released. Let's go, Naruto, go home. Naruto, who regained consciousness, scratched the back of his head strangely, as if something happened just now. Then he nodded heavily. Facing the afterglow of the setting sun, two figures, one big and one small, walked on the Konoha street. As the sun gradually set, the village entered the night. The two came to the door of the house. Just stepped here, Danzo suddenly felt several eyes locked on him. Is it the hidden Anbu? It was clear in his heart, but the expression on his face remained unchanged. Suddenly, Naruto seemed to think of something, and closed the door again, turned his head to Danzo in embarrassment and said, I'm sorry, brother Danzo. This place is a bit dirty. Well, I'll go in and clean it first. Otherwise, it's too rude. After speaking, Naruto ran into the house and cleaned up all the household garbage. Hey, he deliberately arranged for someone to monitor Naruto, and he didn't have time to let someone clean it for him. You must know that Naruto is only 3 years old now. My heart is full of anger. Looking around, Danzo nodded, locked his eyes on a few Anbu, and smiled kindly. Okay, I want to clean it too. Onbi Ninja, who was about to report to Naruto, felt Danzo's gaze and stood there dumbfounded. This man found us? No way, they are all Konoha's elite ninjas, and they have absolutely mastered the necessary concealment methods to the point of proficiency. How could it be so easy to be found? While their thoughts were turning, they suddenly found that Danzo had disappeared in place. I couldn't help being surprised in my heart. Where did he go? A voice appeared next to their ears. Are you looking for me? Alarm bells rang in the minds of the Anbu ninjas. Subconsciously took out a kunai and stabbed behind them. But before he could do anything, there was pain in his neck, his eyes went dark, and he lost consciousness. Pack up a few stunned Anbu ninjas and throw them into the surrounding trash cans. Danzo knows how to do it. He won't hurt his body, but he will sleep well and wait to wake up tomorrow. However, based on their posture, it is estimated that they will have backaches when they wake up tomorrow. Brother Danzo, I packed it up. As soon as Anbu Ninja was thrown into the trash can, Naruto dragged over with a bag of trash and smiled at Danzo. Rubbing Naruto's head, he did not hesitate to praise, little Naruto is really amazing. Helping him throw the garbage bag on a group of Onbi ninjas. Thanks to the darkness, Naruto, who is not yet a ninja, cannot see the Onbi ninjas lying in the trash can, and can only vaguely hear the muffled sound of garbage falling on them. Follow Naruto into the house. As soon as he walked in, Danzo's complexion sank, and the old man had no bottom line than he thought. As the child of the fourth generation of Hokage and Uzumaki princess, her parents definitely left a lot of property, but not counting Namikaze Minato, just Kushina, she inherited the Uzumaki clan's legacy. That is the accumulation of a country. No matter how much you spend, it is impossible to spend nothing. And now? The walls around Naruto's house are extremely dilapidated, there is almost no better furniture, and the quality of life is just above the survival line. At this time, Naruto came over with 2 cups of milk, and handed them to Danzo with a smile. "No, brother Danzo, I'll give you milk." "Thank you, Naruto." Danzo took the milk in his hand, and sprayed it out the moment it entered his mouth. "This milk is rotten." On the other hand, Naruto, he had already drank half a cup happily. Stretching out his hand to take Naruto's spoiled milk, he couldn't help asking, "Little Naruto, do you always drink this kind of milk?" "Yeah." He nodded ignorantly, his blue eyes were a little puzzled. "Isn't that what milk looks like? Won't you have diarrhea?" He reached out and wiped the milk stain off Naruto's mouth. "Yes, but the grandpa of the third generation said that you can grow taller by drinking more milk," Naruto replied with a smile. Danzo clenched his fists seeing that he was shorter than children of the same age. No wonder Naruto regards instant noodles as a delicacy, so you old boy did it. Naruto Uzumaki clan's unbeatable Shaoqiang physique can grow so short, the reason is malnutrition when he was a child. You must know that when she was a child, Lu Gon was known as the little overlord of the whirlpool, and Ju Shinai was even known as the blood-red pepper. Waiting for a dozen or so peers to get close, Naruto, who inherited their genes, couldn't even defeat the 3 little ghosts who had no blood-stained limit when the hero saved Hinata. Yes, no matter how top of the line a sports car is, it cannot run without gasoline. Dare to bully Laozi's grandson like this? Okay, you are very brave, it seems that I beat you less before. Hirazame Sarutobi of the 2 worlds sneezed at the same time, his body trembling a little. Naruto office. Putting down the official duties in his hand, the aged Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his head and looked at Kakashi, who was half kneeling on the ground without a mask. The dimness of the room made people drowsy, full of a decadent atmosphere. "Kakashi," he greeted first, guessing why he came here. "Logically speaking, I arranged for him to protect and monitor Naruto. As an elite Jonin who inherited Hitaki's sword technique, there should not be many people in the huge Konoha worthy of his report. Could it be Shimura Danzo? Master Hokage, on the way to protect Naruto Uzumaki, I met a man who was young and powerful. I am not his match." Kakashi thought for a while, but still covered up his knowledge of Hitaki swordsmanship. After all, the swordsmanship of the Hitaki family is in the same line. In the entire ninja world, Kakashi is the only heir. If he said it, based on his understanding of Hokage, the old man, he might even be suspected by him. Frowning, he took a puff of the pipe, the smoke ring slowly swayed, and the old age cut the whole body, and the smoke was lingering, covering up the decayed smell from the old body. Hearing the feature of youthful appearance, he silently ruled out the elderly Danzo in his heart. Hiruzen felt that he was still too worried. Why would he think that the elderly Danzo did it whenever something happened? Is there any other characteristic? Handsome. Kakashi was silent for a while, thinking of Danzo's appearance. He said in a deep voice. Cough, cough, cough. Elder Rizan was almost choked to death by the smoke. What makes him handsome? He waved his hand and said in a deep voice, "Okay, I know about this matter. The next biggest thing is that the Yunin delegation came to Konoha to sign a peace treaty and notify the people in Anbu to do a good job of security. There are not many people who can beat Hitaki Kakashi. Since he can beat Kakashi, it means that he can take Naruto away quietly. But he didn't take Uzumaki Naruto away immediately, which means that he is not very threatening to Konoha. You can slow down this matter a little bit, and then mobilize some Anbu to strengthen the protection of Naruto. If he succeeds in signing a peace agreement with Yunin this time, then Hiruzen Sarutobi can write a close-up in the textbook again, and use this feat to cover up his love for power and the ugliness of not selecting the 5th Hokage. After all, those people under his command were dissatisfied because the 4th generation died and did not choose the younger 5th Hokage, especially the elderly Danzo, who was messing around every day. Without a credit that can be suppressed, one's seat can't be secure. There are very few pedestrians on Konoha Street today. The shops on both sides are decorated with lights and festoons, as if celebrating a festival. What's the situation? The old man's day was cut and sent, or the old man Danzo hit the street. Looking at this unusual scene, Danzo felt a little curious in his heart. He found a bakery owner who was still open, and saw him staring at the photos in a daze, not even noticing that someone had come in. It wasn't until Danzo reminded him that he reacted. "Boss? Oh, welcome to the guests." The bakery owner put the photo on the table and greeted quickly. "Hey, brother, what's going on today? The street is so deserted," Danzo asked while buying breakfast. The bakery owner took the bread selected by Danzo, calculated the amount, and replied in a cold voice. The delegation of Yunin came to Konoha to sign a peace agreement, and Hokage-sama asked the villagers to go to the entrance of the village to meet them. "Then why don't you go, brother? My wife and son are both ninjas. My son was originally a member of the border patrol. When Yunin launched a surprise attack, he died in battle. The wife was originally a medical ninja, but she also went to the front line to avenge her son, but she also died. Now that peace is peace, you still welcome it? Welcome AP. I can't wait to eat their flesh and drink their blood." The bakery owner stared at the photo on the table in a daze. Following his gaze, Danzo saw a family portrait. The three of them were all smiling happily. The son was already as tall as his father. Under the leadership of Sarutobi Hiruzen, Konoha was really aggrieved in the 3 battles in the ninja world. It's also, Konoha led by Tobirama Sensei and Konoha led by Sarutobi Hiruzen are simply incomparable. Moreover, in the latter period, there were more geniuses. Konoha Sannin is enough to stand alone on the frontal battlefield. With a configuration that can fight and resist energy milk, no matter facing any ninja village, you will not be afraid. Hitaki Sakumo can also put great pressure on the enemies psychologically. The record of sneaking into the Sand Ninja base camp and killing the commander-in-chief is still there. In the name of Shishui Shisui, he killed the enemy in the defense line of Mist Ninja. Namikaze Minato is a yellow flash that allows Ivanoshi to give up the mission after encountering it. With these 4 cards, 2 belts and 2 kings, they still can't win? Especially in all external situations, Hiruza Sarutobi is still scheming. The first generation of the Mudden experiment was integrated into the Konoha project. The first family of the Konoha, the Senju family, a superfamily that everyone owns Chatinla, has 1 or 2 big cats and kittens. Konoha's most steadfast ally, the Uzumaki family, wiped out the clan under his nose, and even ordered Konoha ninjas not to go to the rescue. Uchiha, who is good at fire escape, is arranged on the battlefield of Mist Ninja, who is good at water escape. The Hyuga clan, who defeated Onin's mist killing technique, backhanded them to face Yunin, who is good at ninjutsu. With such an arrangement, the opponents wanted to give him a thumbs up. While his thoughts were turning, he had already arrived at the entrance of Konoha's village. Most of the villagers gathered at the gate of the village, and there was a lot of voices. Except for the Hyuga clan, they all went to their princess's 3rd birthday party. Sarutobi Hiruzen stood at the front with a group of high-level Konoha, and the elderly Danzo was half a seat behind him. Yunin's mission will arrive at Konoha today and start peace negotiations with Konoha's high-level officials. After a long time, the 3 wars in the ninja world are coming to an end, and the long-awaited peace is finally coming. Almost everyone's face is filled with joy. And the villagers whose family members were buried in the battlefield had complex expressions. Peace was obviously a good thing, but they didn't feel the slightest bit of happiness. The carriage in the distance gradually drove into Konoha. Kumo Shinobi, who came here on behalf of Raikage, looked at the bustling Konoha, his eyes flashed with greed. He came with 2 missions. Under the guise of a peace agreement, they kidnapped Princess Hyuga, who caused them heavy losses on the battlefield. It is said that her white eyes are the highest among all Hyuga clansmen. Capture Hyuga Hinata to Yunin village and cultivate a white-eyed family. If the kidnapping incident fails, Konoha will be induced to go to war again, occupying righteousness, and let the ninja world understand that Konoha does not want peace. It has nothing to do with his 4 generations of Raikage. Today's Konoha, the 4th Raikage, has already sent spies to investigate. The Sannin all left the village. The Uchiha clan and the Mist Ninja were both wounded in the fight. Bai Fang was forced to death. Namikaze Minato sealed the Kyuubi to death, and the new generation of Jinchuriki has not yet grown up. Now is simply a great time. The legacy left to Harijan Tobirama is almost wiped out. If it weren't for the ninja school created by the 2nd generation of Naruto to provide fresh ninja blood, Konoha would have been broken by them long ago. Thanks to the spirit of Raikage in the sky of past dynasties for making such a Hokage appear in Konoha. Seeing the carriage of the Yunin delegation coming to the entrance of the village, Sarutobi Hiruzen greeted him with a smile on his face. "Welcome Lei Ying." Halfway through the speech, he stopped. The one who got on and off the carriage was just an ordinary cloud ninja Jonin. Not even Karabi from the AB group was sent. It is already an unspoken rule for both parties to be present at the signing of the peace agreement, which is why Sarutobi Hiruzen will greet him at the entrance of the village in person. But the fourth Raikage did not obey. This is obviously Raikage's blow to Konoha. The faces of most of Konoha's senior management changed. How had Konoha been humiliated like this before? The turbulent fighting intent rose in their hearts, and Shimura Danzo among the crowd silently summoned Zanpakuto. Only Konoha ninjas who died in battle, not humiliated Konoha ninjas. This is what the second Hokage told them with their lives. Konoha ninjas looked at Hiruzen Sarutobi one after another, hoping to fight directly with the young ninja. Elderly Danzo's whole body was tense, ready to take down the person who disrespected Konoha in front of him at any time. Sarutobi Hiruzen felt the scorching eyes coming from behind him, and sighed inwardly. His old body did not have the ambition of World War E in the ninja world. Now he just wants to live in peace and stability, with a smile on his face again. Welcome the Cloud Ninja delegation to Konoha. Konoha will definitely show the demeanor of the host. As soon as these words came out, even the Yunin delegation was stunned. Just now they felt the eyes of Konoha's senior management, and they were all ready to dedicate themselves to the village. The result is this. What Raikage-sama said is indeed correct. The current Konoha is a lion group led by a sheep. All the Konoha ninjas were even more astonished. The enemies were humiliated to the door, and they still acted like hosts? The ministers wanted to fight to the death. Why did Hokage descend first? Sarutobi Hiruzen. The elderly Danzo looked at the old buddy beside him in disbelief. Shut up. I'm Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen cast a cold glance at the elderly Danzo, and said in a deep voice. The whole Konoha seemed to be hit on the spine, and all the Konoha ninjas lost most of their energy. Only the unsuspecting villagers continued to laugh and laugh, not feeling the atmosphere of the scene at all. Brother Danzo. Why can't I feel the joy of those ninja uncles? Naruto followed Danzo hand in hand, looking at the Cloud Ninja delegation that was welcomed into the village, and said doubtfully. Obviously it is for peace. But what the Nine Tails chakra detected on his body was all sluggish. It seems that something important has been lost. Because, this is not the peace they want. It represents humiliation and cowardice. Danzo's arms were bulging, and his teeth were itching with hatred. Although only different time and space. But the unyielding spirit built up by the uncle and the teacher exhausted their efforts, was defeated by you just like that. Konoha has never been afraid of war, let alone enemies who are far more numerous than her own, just because she has such a breath on her back. No matter how fierce the enemy is, with this energy, he can grit his teeth and persevere. Now it's an easy sell. The majestic shadow of a village, bowing his knees to the little characters who can be crushed to death at will. No wonder Orochimaru launched an attack on the Jongnin assessment in the future. Except for the Anbu ninja who was stupid and loyal to you, no one came to save you. Orochimaru is really well intentioned towards Konoha and Sarutobi Hiruzen. It not only preserved his face as Hokage, but also allowed him to die in the name of death in battle. It also freed Konoha from Sarutobi Hiruzen's control. A rotten leaf dies, and new seedlings grow from the rotten tree. Do not break or stand. Taking a deep breath, he turned his head to look at the ignorant Uzumaki Naruto, squatted down, stretched out his hand to stroke his hair, and met his blue eyes. Little Naruto, remember, even if your bones are broken, you can't surrender to the enemy. Protect the one you love, and always swing your sword at the stronger one. This is what your brother Danzo's teacher taught me, and now I will teach you this sentence. Naruto nodded firmly. Although he doesn't quite understand now, brother Danzo must be right. Bet on the honor of the future Konoha Hokage, Uzumaki Naruto, definitely. Kakashi and Uchiha Shisui, who were in the group of the two, looked at each other, their pupils were full of shock. What did he say just now? Danzo. The two looked at Danzo's face in a daze, and then at the elderly Danzo standing at the front of the line. How hard is it to pretend to be Shimura Danzo? But looking at it this way, it seems to be so similar. Could it be that this one is the illegitimate son of the elderly Danzo? Hiss. The fire of gossip in Uchiha Shisui and Kakashi's hearts is burning. This is a big melon at the top, and the more you think about it, the more likely it is. Hokage-sama wanted to monitor the intruder himself instead of directly killing him, and it turned out to be because of this. So what is the relationship between the old man's day cut and the old man's Danzo? Since the death of Sarutobi Lake Biwa, Hokage-sama hasn't continued his strings. I heard that the old Danzo never married again. The pupils of the two who vaguely felt that they had discovered a big secret trembled. Think carefully. Danzo, who was talking to Naruto, frowned, monitoring whether his two little guys had some professional qualities. Under the perception of his domineering, the mood swings of the two guys are getting bigger and bigger. They all have the appearance of a tall and cold man, but the inside is smoldering. It is worthy of being the offspring of Shao Sakumo and Uchiha Kagami. They are in the same line. Concentrate your perception to explore Shisui Uchiha. The yin-dun energy in your eyes is extremely strong, presumably it is to open the kaleidoscope Sharingan. It can not only monitor itself, but also prevent the nine tails from running wild. It is also Konoha's few remaining cage-level combat power. It's a pity that the bug-level illusion of other gods is of no use to him. The ability to modify any cage-level powerhouse is indeed powerful, but Sarutobi Hiruza never thought that he was a super cage-level powerhouse. It was getting late, and the hypocritical meeting between high-level officials was over. The Muya villagers gathered at the entrance of the village gradually walked back to their homes. Several members of the Yunin delegation put on clothes and wandered on the streets of Konoha, greedily watching everything, wishing to keep it for himself. A cloud ninja with a scar on his face grinned and said, "Konoha is really prosperous. Yeah, I really want to see how this village is destroyed." A cloud ninja in the team answered the call. "Don't forget our mission, to investigate the terrain around the Hyuga clan," the older Yun Shino warned as he listened to their conversation. Understood. All the cloud ninja nodded. The elder Yun Ren nodded in satisfaction, pointed to a shop, and said, "Let's go, you guys go buy some bread first." The two cloud ninjas nodded, took the money and walked over. The wind chime at the door of the shop rang as they walked in. Bakery owner looks up, "Welcome light." After seeing the cloud ninja forehead guards on their bodies, he swallowed a sentence in his throat, stared at them firmly, and said word by word, "Please get out, I don't do your business. I don't like the look in your eyes very much." Yun Nin with the scarred face looked at him, with a faint murderous look on his body. How dare an ordinary person talk to him like that? Seeing a photo beside him, he picked it up. The bakery owner got up quickly, wanting to take it back. "Give it back to me. This is the only family portrait in their family and must not be damaged." With a scarred face, Yun Nin stretched out a hand to hold down the bakery owner, looked at the photo, and said to his companion with a smile, "Hey, I know the kid in the photo, the one I killed." The bakery owner who heard Yun Nin's words was so angry that his eyes were bloodshot, and the enemy who destroyed his family was right in front of him. "You bastard, you should die." Picking up the scissors in his hand and slashing at them, Yun Ren with Scarface didn't expect that ordinary people would dare to resist him as a ninja. Caught off guard, his arm was cut. "Bagaya dear." Yun Ren with the Scarface kicked the bakery owner away, and fell to the corner, spitting blood. The two cloud ninjas smashed up in the shop, and all kinds of delicious bread and desserts were trampled under their feet. The whole shop instantly became a mess. The villagers watching outside the door immediately went to find the patrolling Konoha guard. Uchiha, who received the news, hurried over. "What are you doing? Stop now." While speaking, he stood in front of the bakery owner and protected him. "Is this how you Konoha treat customers from afar?" Yunin, the leader of the team, rushed over when he heard the movement, and when he saw the bakery owner who was beaten to vomit blood, his eyes rolled and he was the first to speak. The tone is arrogant and domineering, defiant. Although the several Uchiha guards didn't know the specific situation, the targets were the almost uninjured Kumo shinobi and a seriously injured Konoha villager, and any fool would know how to choose. Sharingan quietly opened, staring at Yun Nin who was making trouble. "Come with us." "What if we don't?" The cloud ninja leader squinted his eyes, straightened up, and the cloud ninja behind him were ready to fight. Just when the two sides were at war, several Anbu ninjas appeared. "Hokage-sama has ordered that Yunin is a guest who came here in peace, so let's close this matter." The Uchiha guards looked at Anbu ninja in disbelief, their fists clenched tightly. It's so easy to let his own villagers be let go after being bullied like this. They really wanted to take Yunin to the guard prison, but Hokage's orders controlled them like shackles. All the cloud ninjas exhaled, facing Uchiha. They didn't have the confidence to defeat them. "Ha ha ha, you, Hokage-sama, are quite sensible. My lord, I don't remember the faults of villains, so I let you go." Scarface Yun couldn't help laughing, and threw the photo frame in his hand into the air. The glass photo frame flying in the air seems to symbolize the dignity of Konoha, which is about to fall to the ground. Shattered. Picture frames swirled in the air. But no one dared to step forward to stop it. The bakery owner's eyes were wide open, bloodshot, and his heart was as dead ashes. Unexpectedly, Hokage, whom he respected and relied on, would protect people from other villages. Everyone present felt only a burst of humiliation. Sarutobi Hiruzen in front of the crystal ball used the technique of a telescope to observe the movement on the scene. Looking at the unbelievable expressions on everyone's faces, he sighed, his face was hot, and he said silently in his heart, "This is all for Konoha's future." The magnificent grounds made his heart return to peace. Sometimes, so many lies are told that even the liar believes that what he is telling is the truth. Several members of the Uchiha Guard lowered their eyes, not wanting to see the next scene. After a while, there was no sound of glass breaking as expected. The bakery owner raised his head with a hint of hope, and saw a photo of a hand tightly holding himself as life. Wearing a hat, people cannot see the face. Slowly walked up to the bakery owner, knelt down, and returned the photo to him. The pressure from their bodies made it difficult for all the clouds to move, and they didn't move for a while. The man turned around, fixed his eyes on them under the shadow of the bamboo hat, and said in a cold voice, "Who gave you the courage to make Konoha presumptuous?" Leading the team, Yun Nin stretched out his hand to block the subordinate who wanted to scold him. The enormous oppressive force made him feel difficult to deal with. Judging from the information they knew, Konoha should not have such a young and strong man. Narrowing his eyes, he asked, "Who is your excellency, and why did you come to meddle in the affairs of our Cloud Ninja and Konoha? If you don't change your name when you're going, and if you don't change your surname when you sit down, that's true for Shimura Danzo." He took off his bamboo hat, revealed a handsome face, looked at Yun Nin playfully, and responded. As soon as these words came out, Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was sitting in the crystal ball, sprayed out the tea that had just entered his mouth. Frowning, staring at the face hidden by the crystal ball, it is indeed the appearance of youth. Is this Danzo's conspiracy again? The old Danzo at the root. Ah. The Uchiha and Onbi ninjas present were also stunned. They had all seen the real appearance of the elderly Danzo. But I can't say it now, and I have to cooperate with this Danzo to continue acting. They are extremely dissatisfied with Hokage's order, but they are restrained by Hokage and cannot break away from his order. Now someone has stepped forward, which is very happy to hear. The leader of the team, Yunin, frowned. Shimura Danzo is a high-ranking Konoha, and his information, Yunin, was naturally included. Shimura Danzo, wearing a blindfold all year round, ugly, old, good at wind escape ninjutsu. Konoha is a typical hawk, in charge of the most mysterious root of Konoha. He is very different from the information collected by the senior group. Just being ugly doesn't make a difference. If you don't want to tell me your real name, you don't have to lie to me, Scarface Yun said with dissatisfaction. Unexpectedly, the figure of Danzo in front of him flashed and appeared in front of him in an instant, and a big Bidu shouted up. With the scarred face, Yun Ninja had the strength of a majestic ninja, but he had no power to fight back. He was slapped into the air, spun around a few times and fell to the ground, a few teeth spurted out with blood foam. The face was swollen visible to the naked eye. Danzo stepped forward, stepped on his body, and twitched his mouth. Do you not understand people's language? Labor and management are called Shimura Danzo. Sign. The remaining few Yunin were furious after seeing it. They had been masters in Konoha for so long, and now the captain is being bullied and angry. He directly took out kunai and rushed up. What's more, he kept forming seals in his hands, completely ignoring Anbu and the security team present. Out of the corner of his eye, he caught sight of the movements of the Yunin behind him. Smiling inwardly, the number of cloud ninjas who died at the hands of Laozi was not 1,000 but 800. I haven't seen anyone rushing to die. Just when Danzo was about to make a move, Uchiha Shisui, who felt a strong killing intent, understood that the one in front of him really wanted to chop these cloud ninjas. If they are killed, then the peace agreement will be signed with a P. Instant. Shisui lived up to his reputation. After the Sharingan was opened, he kicked them away one by one. The elite Chunin and Junin who were present could not survive a round in his hands. The landing point happened to be at the Uchiha Guard, which is the farthest from Danzo. Several members of the security team recognized at a glance that this was the Uchiha hero they admired, and shouted in unison, "Master Shisui." Shisui nodded, glanced at Danzo secretly, and said in a deep voice, "Take them into the prison of the security team." Yes. The Uchiha shouted excitedly. They have long been displeased with these cloud ninjas. As long as they return to Uchiha's lair, it is Uchiha's business how they want to teach them. It will definitely make them want to die. Even if they don't die, they will have to peel off their skin. Senior, can you give this to our Uchiha guard, and I will definitely give the Konoha villagers a satisfactory answer. Danzo glanced at him with a smile, as expected of a descendant of Uchiha Kagami. This head is quite smart. Putting the family and the village in the same position in my heart will not be like Itachi Uchiha, where the interests of the village overwhelm the interests of the family. It is safest to make such a decision without knowing my identity. It's a pity, as long as you have enough strength, you can turn over any dissatisfaction. Of course can. Danzo smiled on his face, his feet continued to exert force, and the chest of Kamo-faced Yunin was sunken little by little. His mind is clear, but he can't do anything to resist at all, he can only watch himself step by step towards death. Help me. He stared wide-eyed at Anbu beside him, wanting them to save him. Several Anbu ninjas looked at each other, unable to watch him die in front of their own eyes, stepped forward and said, "I'm sorry, this senior, can you spare his life?" Danzo imitated what he said just now and said, "Okay, my lord does not remember villains, so I will let you go." He raised his foot slightly, and stepped on it again before the scarred face Yun Ren rejoiced. Bang! Yun Ninja with the scar face spit out a mouthful of blood. Facing the shocked eyes of Anbu, Danzo smiled kindly, "Don't worry, he's still alive." Under the control of his exquisite strength, only the whole body was shattered, and there was no possibility of becoming a ninja. He would lie in bed for the rest of his life, unable to even commit suicide. He was crazy, his eyes fixed on Danzo, for a cloud ninja who worships power. It's better to kill him than to live like this. Blood froth gushed out of his mouth, and he said intermittently, "Kill me." "Don't worry, I won't kill you, just live like this." Danzo leaned down. Although his face was smiling, his eyes were not warm. Facing such a pair of pupils, the scarred face of Yun Ren collapsed. Never thought that such a cowardly Konoha still hides the no-one savage. If I knew this earlier, I wouldn't dare to make trouble. Take them away. Putting on the bamboo hat again, he turned and left, disappearing into the crowd. After getting Danzo's words, the Anbu ninja dared to step forward and dragged away the scarred face cloud ninja who was like a pool of mud. There was a little pity in his eyes, and he was lucky to have provoked such a cruel person.